A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
And now, Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and what it means to be the wife of a famous star. Larry Noble has signed to do a picture in Hollywood with a little-known movie company because he found out that Mary had secretly written to their friend Tom Bryson, the playwright, asking him to find work for Larry on the coast. This is his first day on the set at the Marco and Franklin lot, and Larry waits for orders from the director, Sam Marco, as the electricians, grips, and carpenters set up the equipment for the filming of the first scene. As he watches the progress with faint interest, a very pretty young girl joins him, and we hear...
Hello. You're Larry Noble, aren't you?
Why, yes. Yes, I am.
I heard you were going to be in the picture, and I've been terribly excited. I'm Dora Dean, and I know you never heard of me before, so don't try to pretend you have.
As a matter of fact, Miss Dean, I must admit you're right.
Oh, please don't be so formal. I want you to call me Dora.
All right, fine. I take it from your makeup and that outfit you're one of the cast, huh?
Oh, yes. It's a rotten part, but what can a girl do? They're all so terribly stubborn and blind out here that they won't even look at you if you aren't Betty Grable or Dorothy Lamour or someone.
Still, they must have started sometime, too.
I suppose so. But honestly, Mr. Noble, it's terribly hard to get recognition out here. There are just too many people trying out for the same job.
Yes, it's the same way in the theater. Only I have a hunch it's even worse out here.
Oh, I'd give anything if I could get to New York and get in a good Broadway production. You know, something like South Pacific. Or...
Here, now, you wouldn't want to do Mary Martin out of a job, would you?
Now, you're just kidding me.
No, not at all.
How did you happen to sign up with this company?
It was all very sudden.
I mean, Marco and Franklin. Who ever heard of them? When my agent suggested... there he is now.
Oren, come up to the end of the track and pan to the left.
Look at him being important. You can see Cecil B. DeMille.
I've heard Mr. Marco is a very talented director.
Wait till you see him get up in that little bucket seat on the camera and ride all over on the boom. Just to show him.
That's all you can come up with, Ernie. Bring her all the way. That's better. Now to the left. Left, I said. Okay, hold it.
Do you know, that's the thing that gets me down about pictures, Mr. Noble.
What's that?
The way you have to wait around for hours while they set up all those lights and things, and then what? You're on for a couple of minutes, and then you wait around all over again.
From what I hear, Mr. Marco is very quick on production.
Maybe he is, but you still have to wait around an awful lot. I bet you'll be homesick for Broadway before you're finished with this picture.
Well...
It's a lot more exciting to act in front of a real live audience. I know, even the few things I've done out here. Stock and little theater and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it gets you, Mr. Noble. Gee, a famous actor like you, it must seem awfully funny to be standing around here waiting for some crummy little scene.
Oh, if you don't stop, Dora, you'll have me so depressed that I'll be reduced to tears. And you know what that would do to my makeup.
Just the same. I don't see what brought you out here. Oh, not that I'm not glad. Don't misunderstand me. Do you want to know, Mr. Noble, something?
What?
You've always been kind of an idol of mine.
Oh, now, really, Dora?
Oh, I mean it. Ever since I can remember, I've pasted your picture in my book and kind of dreamed about what you'd be like if I ever met you.
You're making me feel about 100 years old.
Oh, I don't mean it like that, Mr. Noble. Only, well, you've been a big star for quite a long time, you know, and it's not that I'm a kid or anything, only...
I know. I've been around a long time.
Oh, there you go again. Do you always kid people along like that?
Not always, Dora. Only special people.
Well, thanks. I mean, that's kind of nice. I always knew you'd be nice if I ever did meet you, Larry. I mean, Mr. Noble.
Oh, no, you were right the first time. Since I'm to call you Dora, you better call me Larry.
You really are nice. And you're even better looking than your picture.
Oh, please, Dora.
Well, anyhow, you're nice. You're not stuck up. It's only these little nobodies that think they're so wonderful they put on airs.
Oh, take it easy, Dora. You're spoiling me.
I mean it. Well, maybe sometime I'll make the grade too, Larry.
You have lots of time, Dora.
Not all that time. How old old were you when you got to be a star?
Oh, don't you know better than to ask a question like that?
Get that shadow out of there, will you, please? What's happened to that letter I asked for 20 minutes ago? Let's start making a picture. We haven't got all day.
Sam Markle could probably do just as good with a brownie 2A.
You're very hard on the gentleman, Dora. I'm almost afraid to go out there for my scene, for fear of what you'll say about me.
You don't have to be afraid, Larry. I think anything you do is wonderful. Honest. I read every single word about you all the time you were arrested in New York. And that awful murder. Oh, it must have been terrible for you.
It isn't my favorite memory.
But to arrest you, Larry Noble, for murder, I just can't get over it.
It's going to take me quite a while to get over it myself, I'm afraid.
Well, it's lucky they found out in time. Tell me, I mean, just between us, what kind of a woman is that Claudia Vincent?
I don't think there's much point in discussing her. If you followed the accounts, you know that she's been committed to an institution.
Oh, sure. And I know about your wife, too, being burned with acid. She's back in New York in a hospital, isn't she?
Yes.
That must be tough. Is she going to be all right?
I don't know, Dora, and if you don't mind, I'd rather not talk about it now.
All right, now. Let's have it nice and quiet. You're on, Mr. Noble.
You're right there, Mr. Marco.
Good luck, Larry.
Let's do this just like we rehearsed it. We won't waste any time. You got it set, Noble?
Ready whenever you are.
Good. Now, please help us out on this shot, fellas. Let's have absolute quiet. All right, now. Camera. Action. Sound.
And back east in a New York hospital, Mary Noble is facing another day without word from Larry. And after several hours, she has asked her nurse, Miss Clark, to write a letter for her. And so now she's dictating the message, and we hear...
Larry, darling, I haven't heard from you in so long. And I want to know everything about what you're doing and what you think of Hollywood and your new picture.
So long and... Oh, I'm afraid you'll have to go a little slower, Mrs. Noble. I'm not very good at this.
Oh, I'm sorry. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. And I want to know everything about what you're doing. Do you have that?
What you're doing, yes.
And what you think of Hollywood and your new picture.
Hollywood and your new picture.
Most particularly, darling, I want to know about you.
Know about you. Right.
I'm anxious to hear how Tom Bryson is getting on. He's one of our closest friends, Miss Clark. He had a terrible accident some months ago. Had to have his back in a cast, I believe.
Oh, yes, I remember. You told me about him. He's the famous playwright.
Oh, yes, of course I did. Now, where was I?
How Tom Bryson is getting on.
Oh, yes. Dr. Allen says I'm getting along wonderfully. And he's already taken off a lot of my bandages.
Taken off a lot of my... All right, Mrs. Noble.
I miss you terribly, Larry. But I feel sure this was the best thing for you to do. Don't you?
Best thing for you to do, don't you?
But please write to me. All my love, Mary.
All my love. I have that. Now then, shall I send it to the hotel where you said Mr. Noble was staying?
Oh, yes, please. And be sure to put an M.L. stamp on it, Miss Clark.
Oh, I'll attend to it right away. Oh, is there anything I can get you while I'm outside?
Nothing, thanks. If you'll just put that table across the bed. I'll look through some of these books that Mr. Barlow brought me yesterday.
All right. There, Mrs. Noble.
That's just fine, thanks. You will mail that letter right away, won't you?
Yes, of course. I'll get an envelope outside and put it right in the slot.
Hello, Clarky.
Oh.
How's your patient today?
She's all right, Lowry, but... Oh, she'd be a lot better if that husband of hers would use a little more consideration.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, I told you he went out to Hollywood just like that, without so much as a word.
Mm-hmm.
And he's hardly sent her a line since he got there.
Now, I call that pretty mean.
Makes my blood boil. Mrs. Noble got me to write him a letter, and it's enough to make you cry. It's so pathetic.
A man like that ought to be horsewhipped.
It's just a shame, Lowry. That's what it is.
Of course it is.
Why she puts up with it is more than I can see. Oh, if I had a man like that Rupert Barlow coming to see me every single day, bringing flowers and books and heaven only knows what to keep me interested. Oh, believe me, I'd soon stop worrying about any stuck-up actor out in Hollywood.
That Mr. Barlow must be very interested in her the way he comes here every day.
And he's got more money than you've ever heard of.
I think he's awfully good-looking, too, don't you, Clarky? In a devil-may-care sort of way.
Oh, of course he is. He's positively handsome. I only hope my patient gives him plenty of encouragement because Oh, look out, there he is now.
Well, and what do you know? And look at the package.
Good afternoon, Mr. Barlow. You can go right in. Mrs. Noble will be glad to see you.
Rupert Barlow continues down the hall as the two nurses watch him with interest. And we wonder if Mary's hurt at not hearing from her husband will make her a little more pleased to see Rupert. Be sure to be listening tomorrow to Backstage Wife, the story of Mary Noble and her husband Larry Noble, famous Broadway star.
In just a moment, X-1, but first...
Boy, that kind of music went out with a handlebar mustache, didn't it? But the kind of wonderful melodies you'll hear on NBC's bandstand are guaranteed to remain popular throughout the years. This is Bert Parks, your bandstand MC. I'd like to invite you to spend 2 full hours each weekday morning with America's top-name bands. Groups like Guy Lombardo, the Dorsey Brothers, and Ralph Flanagan. They'll entertain you in person. So listen Monday through Friday to NBC Bandstand.
Now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC. After tonight's broadcast, X-1, the adult science fiction show, will not be heard until Wednesday, September 26th. It will be heard on Wednesdays thereafter. For the exact time, consult your local newspaper. And now, X-1.
Countdown for blast-off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in 1,000,000 could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy's science fiction magazine, presents X-1. This week, the police chiefs of the country are meeting in Chicago for the 63rd Annual Conference of the International Association of Chiefs of Police. Tonight, X-1 is proud to salute them as we present The Lifeboat Mutiny by Robert Sheckley.
Of course, we should have known better. In a way, we were asking for it, but frankly, we were short of credits, and beggars can't be choosers. As a rule, I don't like second-hand equipment, not if I have to trust my life to it. But Joe, the interstellar junk man, can be pretty persuasive. He has an air of confidence when he walks down between the rows of antique jalopies on his lot and pats an airlock door lovingly or kicks at the ground gyros to show how firm they are. Joe exudes faith the way trees drip sap in the spring. And if you get too close, a little rubs off on you.
Yeah, you see, solid as a rock. Look at that plating. I'm telling you, this boat is a real buy.
She looks pretty old.
Sure, she's old.
Now, don't give us that story about it belonging to a little old lady who used it to flip to church on Sundays.
Now, look, boys, I'm not trying to unload something on you. I don't stand to make a nickel on this, but tell me the truth. Did you ever hear sweeter engines? And look at those servos.
Pretty old.
And that hull. I bet it's 500 years old and not a spot of corrosion on it. I'm telling you, you're lucky. It's a coincidence, you two fellas coming in. You need a lifeboat, And sitting right here waiting for you, like you was made for each other, is this baby.
Well, she certainly does seem rather nice. What do you think about it, Dick?
It does look pretty good. It's about what we need for the ocean survey work on Trident. But you know Joe.
They just don't build them this way anymore. Look at that propulsion unit. You couldn't dent it with a trip hammer. And note the capacity of the cooling system.
It looks good, but some of these old machines, I just want to make absolutely sure it's safe.
Safe? Safe. He asked me if it's safe.
Is it?
Now, step inside. Go ahead. Step inside. All right. Push that button. Right there on the instrument panel.
This one?
Yeah.
I am Lifeboat 324A.
Hey, the darn thing talks.
Yeah, and in English, too.
It's equipped with a universal translator. It's completely automatic. I told you they just don't build them this way anymore. Go ahead. Push the button again.
I am Lifeboat 324A. My primary purpose is to preserve those within me from peril and to maintain them in good health. At present, I am only partially activated.
Could anything be safer? This is no senseless hunk of metal. This boat will look after you. This boat cares.
I don't know. The idea of an emotional machine always gets me. I can't even stand those robot maitre d's. They keep slobbering over you every time you go into a restaurant with their tubes just pouring kindness and consideration.
You're a reactionary. We'll take it.
You won't be sorry. Boys, you just bought yourselves a lifeboat.
Joe delivered this assurance in the frank and open tones that had helped make him a millionaire several times over. It wasn't that he was dishonest. Far from it. All the flotsam he collected from anywhere in the universe worked. But ancient machines often had their own idea of how a job should be done. They tend to get peevish when forced into another routine.
Well, there she goes, Lifeboat 324A. I got her down in the afterhold. I think she's in perfect condition. It's just what we need for those oceans on Trident.
I hope so. The last thing I bought from Joe was an electric razor. Only it turned out that it came from Deneb 3, where they are slightly reptilian. And an electric razor is used to help them change their skin in the hot months. If you remember, I was in the hospital 3 months, and after the skin grafts, I don't know my ears from my elbow. This job we were on was to survey the planet Trident for a real estate speculator who bought it for subdivision. Trident was about the size of Mars, but with a far better climate. There was no native indigenous population, no poisonous plants, and no germ-borne diseases. As a matter of fact, apart from one small island and one small polar ice cap, the entire planet was covered with water. There was no real shortage of land. You could wade across some of Trident's several seas. Our firm had been hired to survey and plan a little mountain raising because the sector council frowned on selling building lots under 4 feet of water. We landed on Trident and launched the lifeboat.
Okay, I got the sandwiches in the water. Ready to cast off?
Aye, aye, sir. All mooring lines are on board.
All right, let's crank this swan boat up and get going.
Well, push that button.
Aye, aye.
I am Lifeboat 324A. My primary purpose is to preserve those within me from peril and to maintain them in good health. At present, I am only partially activated. For full activity, press button 2.
Oh, there it is, right next to the first one.
Well?
Something's going on back there. Sounds like motors warming up. Hey, that sounds like a short circuit somewhere. You know there's no wheel on this thing?
Oh, wait a minute. There's got to be some kind of tiller or control.
Well, you look. That's all there are, 2 buttons.
Well, then maybe she controls telepathically.
I'll try it. Hey, 324A, go ahead slowly.
Ah, there she goes. That's it.
Starboard a little.
Wait a minute. I still don't like the sound of that. I bet there's a short somewhere. I'm going down to look for it with a circuit tester.
Don't louse anything up. I like a boat that works this way. Gives me a sense of power. Hey, 324A, full speed ahead. Arnold disappeared into the bilge with a circuit tester, and I handled the survey. Actually, our machines did all the work, tracing the major faults in the ocean bottom, locating the most promising volcanoes. And when the survey was complete, the next stage would be turned over to the subcontractor. He would wire the volcanoes, seed the faults, and touch the whole thing off. After that, there'd be enough dry land on Trident for anybody. Well, by mid-afternoon, I figured we could knock off for a while. We ate our sandwiches, took a drink of water from the canteen, and then had ourselves a swim in Trident's clear green water.
Hey, give me a hand up.
That was very refreshing.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to get this grease off with sandpaper, but I think I found the trouble. You see, the leads to the primary activator have been removed and the power cable's been cut.
Well, why would anyone do that?
Well, it might have been part of the decommissioning, but I got it hooked up now. Go ahead, hit the second button. Might as well have this thing working right.
Okay, here she goes.
I am Lifeboat 324A. I am now fully activated and able to protect my occupants from danger. Have faith in me. My action response tapes, both psychological and physical, have been prepared by the best scientific minds in all Drome.
Ah, that's more like it, huh? Gives you a feeling of confidence, doesn't it?
I suppose so. But where is Drome?
Gentlemen, try to think of me not as an unfeeling mechanism, but as your friend and comrade in arms. I understand how you feel. You have seen your ship go down, cruelly riddled by the implacable Hagen.
What ship? What's it talking about?
You have crawled aboard me, dazed, gasping from the poisonous fumes of water, half dead.
Oh, no, wait a minute. You mean that swim we took? You got it all wrong. We were just surveying.
Half dead, shocked, wounded, morale low. You were a little frightened, perhaps, and well you might be. Separated from the Drome fleet and adrift upon an alien planet. A little fear is nothing to be ashamed of, gentlemen. But this is war, and war is a cruel business, and we have no alternative but to drive the barbaric Hagen across space.
There must be a reasonable explanation for all this.
Probably an old television script got mixed up in its response bank.
We'd better give it a complete overhaul. We can't listen to that stuff all day.
Well, we're about a quarter of a mile from the island. I'll tell you what. I'll take it down and clean the goo out of the contacts when we get there.
Hey, what's going on?
We're stopping. Hey, lifeboat.
Quiet, calm, trust in me. I am scanning the island.
What's he talking about, scanning me?
Better humor him. Lifeboat, that island's okay. We checked it personally.
Perhaps you did, but in modern lightning-quick warfare, Drome senses cannot be trusted. They are too limited, too prone to interpret what they wish. Electronic senses, on the other hand, are emotionless, eternally vigilant, and infallible within their limits.
But there isn't anything there.
I perceive a foreign spaceship on the island.
Oh, that's our ship.
It has no Drome markings.
Well, it hasn't any enemy markings either. I painted it myself.
In war, we must assume that what is not ours is the enemy's.
Oh.
I understand your desire to set foot on land again, but I take into account factors that a Drome motivated by his emotions would overlook. Consider the apparent emptiness of the strategic bit of land, the unmarked spaceship put temptingly out for bait, the fact that our fleet is no longer in this vicinity.
All right, that's enough. Now, I'm tired of arguing with you. Go directly to that island. That's an order.
I cannot obey that order. You are unbalanced from your harrowing escape from death.
All right. Enough of this nonsense. I'm just going to take that cutoff switch and...
Come to your senses, gentlemen. Only the decommissioning officer is empowered to turn me off. For your own safety, I must warn you not to touch any of my controls. You are mentally unbalanced. Later, when our position is safer, I will administer to you. Now, my full energies must be devoted towards detection and escape from the enemy.
Where are we going?
To rejoin the drone fleet as soon as I can find it.
We sailed over the empty seas of Trident for the rest of the afternoon and far into the night. At about midnight, we sat in the cabin sharing our last sandwich. The lifeboat was still rushing madly over the waves, its every electronic sense alert, searching for a fleet that had existed 500 years ago upon an entirely different planet.
Oh, why didn't I pack more sandwiches?
Did you ever hear of these drones?
Yeah, vaguely. They were non-human, lizard-evolved creatures. Yeah, they lived on the 6th planet of some little system near, Capella. The race died out over a century ago.
Mm-hmm. And the Hagen? What about them?
Also lizard, same story. Wasn't a very important war, you know. All the combatants are gone except this lifeboat, apparently.
And us. We've been drafted as drone soldiery. Do you think we can reason with this tub?
Oh, no, I don't see how. As far as this boat is concerned, the war is still on. It can only interpret data in terms of that premise.
It's probably listening in on us now.
No, I don't think so. See, it's not really a mind reader. Its perception senses are geared only to thoughts aimed specifically at it.
Yes, sirree. They just don't build them this way anymore. Oh, I wish I could get my hands on Joe.
Well, you know, it's actually a very interesting situation. The machine is acting very logically upon no longer existent conditions. Therefore, you could say that the machine is the victim of a systematized delusion.
You mean the lifeboat is just plain insane?
Well, I believe paranoia would be the proper designation. But it'll end pretty soon.
Why?
It's obvious. The boat's prime objective is to keep us alive. Our sandwiches are gone, and the only other food is on the island. I figure it'll have to take a chance and go back.
Gentlemen, at present I am unable to locate the drone fleet. Therefore, I am turning back to scan the island again. Fortunately, there are no enemies in this immediate area, so I can devote myself to your care.
Oh, you see, it's about time you got around to us. We're hungry.
Feed us.
Of course. Immediately. There you are. On the tray.
What's that?
That looks like clay.
Oh, it smells like machine oil. Hey, what's it supposed to be?
That is Giesel. It's the staple diet of the drone people. I can prepare it in 16 different ways.
Oh, try it.
All right. It tastes like clay coated with machine oil. We can't eat that.
Of course you can. An adult drone consumes 5.3 pounds of Giesel a day and cries for more.
Now listen, we are not drones. We are humans, an entirely different species. The war you think you're fighting ended 500 years ago. We can't eat Giesel. Our food is on the island.
Ah, yes. Your delusion is a common one among fighting men. It is an escape fantasy, a retreat from an intolerable situation. Gentlemen, I beg you, face reality.
You face reality, or I'll have you dismantled bolt by bolt.
Threats do not disturb me. I know what you've been through. Possibly you've suffered some brain damage from your exposure to poisonous water.
Poisons?
To drones.
If absolutely necessary, I am also equipped to perform physical brain therapy. It is a drastic measure, but there can be no coddling in time of war. You see, you need not worry. All my scalpels are razor sharp and ready for immediate action.
Oh, scalpels, huh? Well, we're feeling better already. That's a fine-looking batch of Giesel, isn't it, Arnold?
Oh, delicious.
Nothing is too good for our boys in uniform. Do try a little.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, that's delicious.
Good. I am moving toward the island now, and I promise you in a little while you will be more comfortable.
Why?
The temperature here is unbearably hot. It It is amazing you haven't gone into a coma. Any other drome would have. Soon I'll have it down to drome norm of 20 degrees below zero. And now I'll play our national anthem.
Arnold?
What?
I'm cold.
Well, you should be very comfortable. Drones live at 20 below zero. We're drones and no back talk.
Those cooling tubes are all frosted up.
Yeah, I just wrote my name in frost in the porthole. Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I got an idea. Just follow my lead.
Why not? Lead on, fellow drone.
Give me the canteen.
What are you doing?
Just gonna get a little exercise. Gotta stay fit, you know.
That is true.
Here you are, boy. Catch.
Look out, that canteen's heavy.
Just throw it right back, boy. Just heave it right in. Come on, let's see your curve.
Be careful with that receptacle. It's filled with a deadly poison. Water.
Oh, we'll be careful. Here we go.
Bad shot, old man.
Oh, how careless of me. I seem to have broken the cooling tubes. Cooling fluid all over the floor.
I should have taken precaution against internal accidents. It won't happen again. But the situation is very serious. I cannot repair the cooling tube myself. I am unable to properly cool the boat.
Say, that's tough. Now, if you'll just drop us on the island...
That is impossible. My first duty is to preserve your lives, and you couldn't live long in the climate of this planet. But I'm going to take necessary precautions to ensure your safety.
What are you going to do?
There is no time to waste. I will scan the island once more. If our drone forces are not present, we will go to the one place on the planet that can sustain drone life.
What place?
The southern polar ice cap. The climate there is almost ideal. 30 degrees below zero. And, of course, I must guard against any further internal accidents. So, I will lock you gentlemen in the cabin.
Think.
I am thinking. Nothing's coming out.
Well, we've got to get off when he reaches the island. It'll be our last chance.
Now, look. We know his internal scanning isn't very good. When we reach the island, maybe we could cut his power cable.
Oh, you couldn't get within 5 feet of it. He's got an electric charge on all the controls.
I am now scanning the island.
Place looks fine today.
Oh, sure does. I'll bet our forces are dug in underground.
They are not. I scanned to a depth of 100 feet.
Well, under the circumstances, I think we should examine it a little more carefully.
It is deserted. I cannot let you endanger your lives by going ashore. Drome needs her soldiers, especially sturdy, heat-resistant types like you.
We like this climate.
Spoken like a patriot. I know you must be suffering, but now I am going to the South Pole to give you veterans the rest you deserve.
Wait a minute. You don't understand. We're operating under special orders. We weren't supposed to disclose them to any vessel below the rank of super dreadnought. We're a suicide squad.
Yes, that's right. Especially trained for hot climate war.
Our orders are to land and secure that island for the drone forces.
I didn't know that.
You weren't supposed to. After all, you're only a lifeboat.
Land us at once.
I couldn't guess, you know. All right. We'll head for the island.
Arnold, it's going to work.
Why not, as long as we tell him the truth?
The beach is only 50 yards away.
No.
No, what?
I cannot do it.
What do you mean? This is war. Orders.
I know, but I cannot obey. A different type of vessel should have been chosen for this mission, but not a lifeboat.
You must think of our country. Think of the barbaric Hagen.
it is electronically impossible for me to carry out your orders. My prime directive is to protect my occupants from harm. That order is stamped on my every tape, giving priority above all others. I cannot let you go to your certain death.
You'll be court-martialed for this. I'll have you broken down to a dinghy.
I regret to say I must operate within my limitations. I must take you to the safety of the South Pole.
Listen, you crazy tin can. Let me at those controls. I'll...
Please, do not attempt any more destruction. I know how you feel.
Wait a minute, Arnold, old friend. Since we cannot accomplish our mission, we cannot ever again face our comrades. Death before dishonor. Hand me the canteen.
No, don't. That's water. It is a deadly poison. Don't.
Too late. Arnold, it's your turn.
We, who are about to die, salute you. We die for glorious drone. That goes for me, too.
Speak to me. Speak to me.
Lie still, you idiot.
There is no known antidote. If only I could contact the hospital ship. Speak to me. Are you still alive? Answer me. Here. Here. Perhaps if you eat some giesel. Dead. 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 I will now read the burial service. Great Spirit of the universe, take into your custody the souls of these your servants. Although they died by their own hand, still it was in the service of their country, fighting for home and hearth. Judge them not harshly for their impious deed. Rather, blame the spirit of war that inflames and destroys the spirit of all drone. And now, by the authority vested in me, by the drone fleet, and with all reverence, I commend their bodies to the deep.
Ow!
Shut up.
Accept them, O ocean, for many brave hearts are at slumber in the deep.
Float quietly.
What's the lifeboat doing? It's still hanging around.
Just pray the drones didn't believe in cremation.
Sleep quietly, brave spirits. I will now play the drone national anthem.
Well, there she goes.
Where?
To the South Pole. To wait for the drone fleet.
You have just heard X-1 presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features The Man Who Ate the World by Frederick Pohl. This is the story of a civilization which flowed with milk and honey, and of a man whose tragedy was that he had not ground at birth. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you The Lifeboat Mutiny, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Robert Sheckley and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in the cast were Leon Janney, Mandel Kramer, William Redfield, and John McGovern. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
A special announcement to the audience of X-1, the adult science fiction show. X-1 will not be heard next week, but will resume broadcasts at a new time on Wednesday, September 26th, and every Wednesday evening thereafter. For the exact time of the broadcast in your locality, remember to consult your local newspaper. The music of Tommy Tucker, live on Bandstand, weekday mornings on NBC Radio.
countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight's story, The Map Makers, by Frederick Pohl.
Damage report, Mr. Bunner.
Aye, sir. 3 bulkheads penetrated in AC and D sections, patched in airtight.
How is Lieutenant Groden?
He isn't good. He's unconscious. His head is all bandaged up. There's a 1,000,000 to 1 chance. I don't think it's happened in 300 years. Meteoric matter hitting a ship in hyperspace.
Mr. Bonner, would you please have the air vents operated to clear the control room of kerosene fumes?
Mr. Lorch.
Aye, sir. Ciccarelli, man the vent.
I'll have a half G spin, if you please. We can use a little gravity when we figure this out.
Aye, sir. Engine room, half G spin for simulated gravity.
How about the Atlas?
That's the worst damage, sir. Celestial Atlas is destroyed.
The Atlas was the only record on board of the hyperspace configurations. The total loss?
It's dead, sir.
Oh.
Hang on, here comes gravity spin.
What was his name?
The Atlas? Spawn. He had a sister in Seattle, I think.
Pass orders for burial at the afterlock.
Aye, sir.
And, Mr. Bonner, have all officers assemble in the wardroom for an emergency meeting as soon as we are secured for normal space.
At ease, gentlemen.
Gentlemen, we are in trouble. We are in the soup, and we're a long way from home. Bonner, would you get me a bulb of coffee, please? Now, nobody is going to come and get us out of this. We'll have to do it ourselves, if we can. Ciccarelli is trying to get us a fix. But I can tell you right now, we are not close to the solar system.
Here you are, sir.
Oh, thank you. That meteor dropped us out of hyperspace in the middle of a jump. Consequently, there isn't a constellation in the sky that you or I or anybody else ever saw before. We might be 100 light years from home, or we might be 10,000.
Well, sir, what about our records?
They went with the Atlas. We can't retrace our steps, not in hyperspace.
Sir?
Yes, what is it, Lorch?
Burial detail standing by at the afterlock.
Very well, we'll get down there in a few minutes. I'm afraid the Atlas will have to wait.
He's a mess, isn't he? Cover him up. Haven't got any respect. That's a laugh. Spawn, I mean. Look at his head. They spent 4 years stuffing it with all those equations out of that hypno machine. Did you ever see him working a jump?
Oh, my jump station's engine pit 3.
There's enough to curl your hair. You know what it's like doing jump. No lights, no fluorescence even, just those kerosene lamps smoking. Everything looking bent and twisted. You can't tell what you're seeing. Well, Spawn stands right up there next to the captain in a trance. And he's spouting numbers and times and equations. And all the time, his eyes are shut. He's out like a light.
He's sure out for good now.
It's funny. He never knew how to count up his pay when he was conscious. When he's out, he's as good as a 5-story computer.
I never could figure it. It's kind of creepy. Why don't they take a regular machine to do hyperspace navigating?
Well, you ought to know. You just lifted him. Spahn weighed 130, wringing wet. A computer would weigh maybe 3 or 4 tons. Ship couldn't lift it.
We got computers on board.
Yeah, electronic computers. What's the first order before jump?
Douse all electric gear.
Sure. The Terra 1 blew higher than the kite before they found that out. You don't use juice in hyperspace. Not if you want to get out of it. So you can't use a computer during a jump. That's where Spahn came in.
You can't use him in a jump anymore either.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Hey, listen. There's the brass coming to dump him. I gotta get back to my patient. Put out that cigarette and try to look solemn. Mr. Broderick.
How is he, convoy?
Not so good. I gave him 3 ampules of neomorph in the last 2 hours. That's twice the normal dosage.
Let me see.
Lieutenant Grodin's the navigator, isn't he? I mean, what happens with him all cut up in the head?
The captain is a trained navigator.
Well, that doesn't do us any good in jump, does it? Not without the atlas to do the calculating.
Look, our job down here is to keep Lieutenant Grodin out of pain. We'll leave the rest of the bridge, all right?
Sorry, sir. It's just that Corelli in the chart room told me he can't locate one of those stars in his chart. And what's more...
Convoy.
Yes, sir.
Hammer that ampule.
Now hear this. Now hear this. Recorder's mate, second class Eklund, report to the wardroom. Recorder's mate, Eklund, report to wardroom.
All right, Eklund, come in.
Recorder's mate Eklund reporting, sir.
Stand at ease, Eklund. You've heard about Recorder's mate Spahn.
Yes, sir. I was with Charlie when...
Bonner, get Eklund a chair, please.
Here you are.
I'm all right, sir.
You know that Spahn's operation was essential to navigation in a jump.
No, sir. I mean, I don't know much of anything until I'm indexed.
Yes, of course. You were rated as ship's librarian log.
Yes, sir.
Spahn read his calibrations up to this point into you?
I suppose so, sir. I'm in trance when I record.
Yes, of course. Now we're going to need those records. Are you ready?
Yes, sir. The key word is index.
All right, Eklund. Index.
There she goes. Takes about 30 seconds for full trance.
Uh-huh. You know, Bonner, this is risky. Trying to backtrack on hyperspace equations by dead reckoning. A centimeter off of the figures might put us 1,000 kilometers in hyperspace. Anything up to 1,000,000 light years when we dropped back into normal. I wish that Meteor had gotten me instead of the Atlas.
She's in trance, sir.
All right, Eklund. Ship's log. Journey day 1. Jump 1.
Journey day 1. Jump 1. Normal space coordinates 345 674 65. Sub 456. Time 4356.98.
Ensign Lortz reporting on watch, sir. No maneuvering during watch, no change in operating status. I haven't made an entry for course and position, Mr. Bonner.
Just put down unknown in big letters.
Yes, sir. You didn't get anything out of Eklund?
Oh, sure. We got the absolute magnitudes and the stellar distances of half the stars in the galaxy, and short course and the geodesics of the n-dimensional space. We didn't get a road map. What does that thermometer read?
It's all right, sir. I adjusted heat level.
What?
The welding torches had the temperature up 5 degrees, so I ordered air valved into the expansion line.
Mr. Lorch, you were bleeding air?
Well, yes, sir, to cool ship.
Lorch, you're a fool.
What?
You valve off air as though we had a whole world of it. Did it ever occur to you we might be in space a long time and we might run out of air?
But, sir, that doesn't happen. I mean...
No, not when you can jump. Not when Earth is an hour or a day away, but we can't jump. You just leave those air valves alone. We'll need every molecule.
Grodin, can you hear me?
Oh.
It's Doc Broderick. Can you hear me?
Yes,
All right, don't talk. You've been hurt. A meteorite got the Atlas and something got you right across the eyes. Drops of molten metal. You're blind, at least for now.
Oh.
We can fix you up from the eye bank when we get back on Earth.
The Atlas. Atlas. Dad.
We got enough problems. I've got to take the bandages off now. Can you see anything? I'm going to pass the light in front of your eyes. You tell me if you can see anything.
No. Nothing, but it hurts.
All right, convoy. Hand me that ampule.
Secure for jump, Mr. Bonner.
Secure.
Engine room. Damage aft. Damage forward. Generator stations. Radiation control. Cargo hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Men's quarters aft.
You ready, Eklund?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever been on the bridge during a jump?
No, sir.
Well, it's tricky. Your eyes lie to you. You see things that aren't there. I don't know how much you will get in trance.
Oh, nothing, sir. I black out completely.
Oh, good.
Ship secured, sir.
Ship secured, sir.
Kill the spin.
Engine room, kill spin. Ship's company, stand by for free fall. Free fall.
Check off.
Chronometers wound and synchronized. Kerosene lamps lit. Navigator.
Aye.
Communicator.
Aye.
Atlas. I'm sorry. Ready, Eklund?
Aye.
Put her under.
Eklund. Index.
Proceed, Mr. Bonner.
Main circuit breakers open.
Main circuit breakers open.
Electricity cut. Eklund's in trance.
Well, we'll give it a try. Huh, Bonner? Backtrack on our jumps.
Yeah. Maybe it'll work out.
Maybe. Stand by to jump.
Stand by to jump.
Stand by to jump.
We'll go when she's straight up. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Jump.
Convoy, where are you? Over here. I can't see you. Feel your way over the road. Everything's green.
Get me the hypo. Come on, man. You've been in the jump before.
Here's the ampule, sir.
Not the pressure hypo. We can't use current in jump as for range.
Groden, it's all right. We're in jump, that's all.
My eyes! My eyes!
Deal. What's the use? You can't use the money even if you win.
What are you trying to do, chicken out?
Corelli says they got a fix after the jump.
What are we worried about? Deal.
They got a fix, all right. 15,000 light years from Sol.
Shuffle.
He says that's the way it is in hyperspace. Distances haven't got anything to do with anything unless you can navigate when you're in jump, and we can't.
Hey, when did Lorch make his rounds?
Why?
I'm going to take off my jumper. It's hot.
Yeah, and it's going to get hotter. Every time the jets blast, every time the cook fries an egg, the ship gets just a little hotter.
Don't mention it.
Every time the jump generators turn over, every time you light a match, that gets us hotter and hotter. Hey, what are you doing?
I'm taking off my skivvy shirt. Deal.
How is he, Mr. Broderick?
You can tell the captain that Lieutenant Groden remains unimproved.
How is he really?
He's working up to some real damage. The kind I can't handle. It's in his head. I had to tell him his sight was gone, unless we can get back to an eye bank within 10 days. You can patch in an eye, but once the nerve has deteriorated, you can't replace it.
Did he take it hard?
Was. Worse, he didn't say a word. I know that man is in pain. The convoy found his pills hidden under his pillow. He wouldn't take them. He just lay there without a sound until we went into the jump. Then he screamed his head off.
What's wrong with him?
Who knows? If I had an electroencephaloscope on board, but I'm lucky they let me have a mini X-ray.
Yeah, what did doctors do before they had those gadgets? Shoot the patients?
No. With luck, I could run an old-fashioned verbal psychoanalysis on him. I might pick something significant out of the sludge. Maybe 5 or 6 months. That's what they did before they had the EES. What time is it?
07:56.
I've got sick call in 20 minutes. Heat exhaustion, dizzy spells, skin rashes. I'm running out of aspirin and salt tablets.
Yeah. Bonner had me with a 10-man detail defluffing the filter traps on the air circulators. It's a lucky thing spaceships aren't painted. They'd have us chipping paint.
Now hear this. Mr. Broderick, report to the bridge. Mr. Broderick, report to the bridge.
How am I supposed to do that? I got 2 corpsmen down with heat prostration.
I'll look after Groden, Mr. Broderick. Maybe I could give him an alcohol rub?
Thanks, Lodge. Oh, by the way, that alcohol.
Yes?
It's denatured.
Here's the problem, Mr. Broderick. We have fuel for just under 40 minutes of rocket blast at standard thrust. That will bring our overall temperature up to 60 degrees centigrade. That's the maximum the human body can stand, right?
Mm-hmm. That's about 140 Fahrenheit. Well, it hits that on Earth in a couple of places around the Dead Sea, but it isn't sustained heat. It drops considerably after dark.
We'll hope we find ourselves out of this before we hit 60 degrees. If we don't, at least we won't starve or suffocate. All right, gentlemen. Mr. Broderick, you can prepare for increasing heat casualties as we proceed.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Bonner. Secure for jump.
My eyes. My eyes.
Now take it easy, Groden. Convoy.
Yes, sir.
Where's the doctor?
He stayed on the bridge for the jump.
Well, what do we do for Groden? During the jump, I can't even see him.
I don't think he hurt himself. We better just wait till the jump's over.
My eyes. They lied. They lied to me. They lied. I can see it. The master pattern. I can see it. No, not like seeing, like knowing. That's Lorch. And Roderick's on the bridge. And the captain. And Earth. And the sun. I can see them. Unbuckle the straps. I've got to get up to the bridge. The jump is almost over. I'll be blind again. If Lord sees me, he'll think it's jump hallucinations. They're lost. But I'm not. I can see the whole universe. I can see.
Jump completed. Secure for normal space.
Groden, come back here. Now, what are you doing out in the passage? Convoy.
Sir?
Come on, give me a hand. Now, how did he get out here and jump? He's blind.
Navigation report negative, sir.
Is there a fix?
No, sir. Torelli thinks he can get a triangulation on an extragalactic nebula. That'll take time.
Well, what's the temperature?
45.
We don't have time. We'll have to keep on. If we don't end up within a light year of Sol, we're cooked. Literally. So, at your convenience, we'll take another jump.
So we've got to take a break. The only way to handle the temperature is frequent rests and liquids.
Will 10 minutes be enough?
Well, I suppose so.
Mr. Bonner, Have steward sections issue whatever they have, juices, water. There's no point in saving it any length of time. We have about 24 minutes of rocket time before the hull heats up to 60 degrees.
Is there any reasonable chance?
Mr. Broderick, we have tried dead reckoning from the records. But in hyperspace, we can't follow them accurately, not without Atlas. I'm timing the blasts from my pulse, because you can't trust reading a clock unless you can touch it. When we jump, I might as well be blind.
Easy. Get him back on the bed. Now, easy, Convoy. Easy.
I got his arm here.
There. I can't figure how he got out there. I saw him, but I thought it was a jump hallucination.
Easy, Mr. Gordon. Now, just fly back.
No, I can see.
Is that possible?
Look at him, Mr. Lorch. His eyes are covered with bandages. He's blind.
Ten minutes is up, Captain.
All right. Secure for jump.
I had to assign 3 more men to each generator. The crew couldn't handle the manual clutch in the heat.
Very well. Proceed.
Chronometers wound and synchronized. Kerosene lamps lit. Navigator.
Aye.
Ready, Eklund?
Aye.
Index.
Proceed, Mr. Bonner.
Main circuit breakers open.
Stand by to jump.
Stand by to jump.
Straight up. 4, 3, 2, 1. Jump.
"30 seconds to full velocity, sir.
You never can get used to it. You can hear, you can touch, but your eyes lie. The photons and electrons that carry vision have some crazy mathematics of their own.
I know, sir.
I remember once I saw a row of monkeys sitting on the control console. I wondered what they were before hyperspace twisted them into monkeys.
10 seconds.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Now it seems as if I'm seeing Groden up here on the bridge, and I know very well he's down in sick bay asleep.
Captain.
Who is that? Lorch?
Yes, sir.
You're not on bridge watch.
Captain, he's really here. It's not a hallucination.
What are you talking about?
Groden. He's really here, sir.
Lorch, what's the idea of bringing him up here during jump?
I only brought him to the forward lock, sir. Then he brought me.
Broderick, is this some kind of heat exhaustion?
I'm telling you, sir. We went into jump, and I couldn't see anything that made sense. Just twisting shadows and lights, you know. But Groden took my hand and led me right up here along the passage.
He's blind.
Not in hyperspace. Not in jump. Then he can see.
Captain. I gotta get him quickly. He must be in intense pain.
Yes, it's painful, all right. But I can see the whole plan, the whole pattern. It makes sense to me now. I can see the stars and the ship and the Earth at the same time. The equations on hyperspace. I can see them the way you can see a triangle or a circle. I can see the Earth, and I can tell you how far it is.
Groden, you mean you can pilot us home?
Yes, I can.
All right, Mr. Groden. Take over this ship.
Number 3 pattern. Fire. Cut. Velocity. 563,748. Relative thrust. 7,867. Counterblast for 2 seconds. Pattern 657. Blast. Cut. All right. Hit normal space at mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark.
Look out, he's gonna fall.
Yeah, I've got him.
He saw in hyperspace. He navigated by line of sight in hyperspace.
We'll have to order a stretcher up. He's blind again.
Sun system. 239 degrees, 45 elevation. Magnified by 50 on forward screen.
That's not Sol.
No, but it's a place to land. There's a planet there. It's Earth normal. You can land and cool ship and replenish air.
Mr. Bonner, take her down to atmosphere. Have planetology section start to check it out.
Aye, sir. Anson Lodge, report down to planetology. Engine room, landing routine.
Why didn't we hit Earth on the jump, Groden? Why?
Just as well, Mr. Broderick. If the planet checks out, it's a whole world for colonization.
Sure, but it'll be 2 weeks before you can replenish ship and catalyze fuel. There won't be any new eyes for Lieutenant Groden then. The optic nerves will be gone too far. He'll never have eyes again.
I knew that before I brought you up here.
Ready, blast, for skip deceleration in pit 3.
You mean, Groden, you could have brought us back to Earth?
In 2 jumps.
Then why didn't you? I can't allow a man to go blind because of phony heroics.
Do you want to know how many Sol-type systems there are within 5,000 light years? I can tell you. Want to know what the universe looks like in hyperspace? I can tell you that, too. Only I can't describe it. The whole thing is as orderly and chartable as our own space. And I could see it, all of it. And you offer me eyes. Captain, we have a quadrant of hyperspace to chart. I can see during the jumps. Captain, I...
Look out. He's still in pain.
I can see to the end of the galaxy. And beyond.
I know. But in the meantime, Mr. Broderick.
Aye, sir.
When we take off again, Lieutenant Groden will be in command during jump. He will handle this ship, and at his direction we will chart hyperspace. But in the meantime, will you kindly lead him to his quarters?
You have just heard X-1 presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Dead Ringer by Lester Del Rey, a fascinating story about a man who learned that there was nothing on Earth which could set him free, least of all the truth. Galaxy Magazine on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you The Mapmakers, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Frederick Pohl and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in the cast were John Larkin, Ed Prentice, Bob Hastings, Tom Collins, Dick Hamilton, Burford Hamden, Raleigh Bester, and Carl Frank. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Down in a submarine lock, 50 feet below the surface of the Magic Island, Jerry and Joan are waiting for their orders to go aboard the Euclidean submarine, which will go out to capture Johnson on Mrs. Gregory's other boat. G-47, powerful leader of the group of scientists on the island, has demanded that Jerry and Joan go with the submarine as a guarantee that Captain Bradford will not attempt anything to interfere with the safety of the underwater vessel. Jerry and Joan are standing near the entrance to the submarine lock.
Now, you must be patient, Jerry.
Gee whiz, patient? Do you know we've been standing here for a half an hour?
Isn't that better, Jerry?
Better than what?
Better than having spent the half hour in the submarine and being a half hour nearer to capturing your friend Johnson's boat.
Yeah, Joan, you're right. Oh, you're always right. And it gets my goat to have a girl be always right.
I will try to be wrong, Jerry, if it will make you feel any better. But it will be very hard for me to be wrong about anything.
Oh, is that so? You sure hate yourself, don't you?
No, Jerry, I do not hate myself. Why should I?
Forget it. Just act like I didn't start it. Now then, we've been standing here a half hour and nothing happened. Can't we even look into the lock and see what it's all about?
No, Jerry. We must just stand here and wait. We will be told when we may enter.
Oh, golly whiskers, Joan. This thing's getting on my nerves. And I'll bet your mother and Captain Bradford are plenty nervous down there in the yacht, too, worrying about us.
You should say up there in the yacht. The yacht is on a higher level than this lock. We're on the floor of the 5th level, 50 feet from the surface of the island.
Gee, and the top of the island is 40 or 50 feet below the water level. We're pretty near 100 feet below the water. And that's something else I don't like.
What is that, Jerry?
Well, I'm afraid that when we get in that submarine, it'll shoot right up to the surface. And one of those battleships practicing up there will think we're the target and let us have a few rounds.
Oh, no danger of that. These Euclidean submarines can travel safely and swiftly at a depth of over 200 feet.
Well, it beats me. I don't see how they do it.
I think you will see many things, Jerry. The commander is coming.
Where? I don't see anybody.
The door into the lock is opening slowly. That means the commander is coming down the companionway to the lock and has released the lock mechanism.
Who is this commander we're going to take this crazy trip with?
I will not know that until I see her.
Until you see her?
That is what I said.
Her? You mean a woman is going to command this submarine?
Of course. All the submarines are commanded by women, as nearly all the other mechanism on the island is.
What for? Are they short of men on this place?
No, but G47 says the cleverness of the men is needed to design and build these instruments of destruction. A woman is only fit to run them.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
The door is nearly open now, so the commander should be here any moment. Yes. Look, Jerry, here comes the crew.
That first guy is big enough to use a submarine for a rowboat. But where's the rest of the crew?
The rest? I do not understand, Jerry. He is the crew.
That guy? One man? Is the crew of a submarine?
Precisely.
Don't say that, precisely. Sounds like old G47.
Step aside and let him pass, Jerry. Do not speak to him.
Okay. I don't like his looks anyhow.
I have orders from G47 to take you on this voyage, Cleostra. You will enter immediately following the commander and take your orders from her.
I understand, SE-1.
Is this vacant-faced stripling of the world to accompany us?
Is that me?
Yes, Jerry. G47 instructed me to keep this man near me at all times. He will serve you when the objective is reached.
G47 orders will be carried out. But how this open-mouthed object could serve anyone is not clear to me. Stand by for the commander.
Yes, sir.
Now, look here, Joan. I've had all I'm going to stand of this. One-man submarine crews floating up to me without a sound and making cracks about me. I'm going to tell
you will do nothing. Remember Captain Bradford's orders.
Yeah, I know. And it's only that noiseless paint on everything that makes them seem to be sneaking around the air. But if you forget for a minute, you get the jitters.
Stand aside. Make way for the commander.
Huh? The commander? That beautiful girl?
Yes. Now quiet.
So we are to have the charming Cleostra with us. SE-1 will enjoy that. He will probably find some excuse for making your journey anything but pleasant.
I am ready, Commander.
So I observed. And I have also G47's instructions regarding this ballast.
You mean me?
As you are the only object in this chamber possessing visibility, but no other apparent useful quality, it should be natural that I referred to you.
Say, now you look here.
Jerry, say no more. I am sorry, Commander, but this gentleman is not accustomed to our ways. He knows nothing of our activities.
Obviously, he knows nothing about anything. G47 prepared me for the meeting with him by saying his intelligence was 0. But it appears now that even the science of mathematics must be overthrown. It is possible to subtract from 0.
Say, I'm going to...
Silence, fool. You will speak when spoken to. Cleostra?
Yes, Commander.
You will bring this into the lock. Observation is permitted. Questions are not. I will summon you when ready. G47 is coming to give you final instructions.
Jerry, be calm and keep quiet. You will spoil everything if you are not careful. And remember that we have the only chance there is left to protect Johnson and possibly save Captain Bradford's formula.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. But she got my goat. You know, she's the most beautiful woman I ever saw in my life. Ah, but she's just a blame machine. A hard, cruel machine. Like everything and everybody else here on Euclidia.
Oh, Jerry.
Oh, now cut it out, Joan. I didn't mean you. You're not like the rest of them here.
But you said she was the most beautiful woman you had ever seen.
Oh, Jiminy Crickets. I didn't mean that, Joan. You're the most beautiful girl I ever saw.
Am I, Jerry?
Sure you are. The commander ain't so much for looks, I guess. It's just that I got a surprise seeing a young woman handling a job like this.
You will see women doing many things on Euclidia, Jerry.
Oh, I believe you. Well, when do we start this deep-sea cruise with a woman skipper and a one-man crew?
The commander said G-47 was coming with final instructions for us. We may go into the lock and wait for him. There you can observe the mechanism which holds the nose of the submarine into the island.
Oh, let's have a look. This isn't a very big door, but I guess... Hey! We can hear our feet again!
Yes, this is one of the compartments on the island that is kept noisy for a reason, Jerry. Every sound made in this lock registers in the control chambers, and the scientists know what is happening here at all times.
Well, I've got no secrets anymore. Boy, this island has sure taught me one thing.
What is that, Jerry?
Better say something good about everybody, because every time you don't, the guy is standing right behind you.
Now, Jerry, you can see the submarine.
Where? Hey, is that wall glass?
No, transparent steel. They use some glass in the fusion with the steel, and the resulting hardness is greater than that of steel, with the visibility of a poor grade of glass.
All right, I'm sold. It's steel, but you can sure see through it plain. Gee, look at all the fish out there. What a place to study fish from.
We may come here and do that some other time if you wish, but you are not looking at the interesting part of the lock.
It's all interesting to me, but what do you mean?
The nose of the submarine is screwed into that wall.
Hey, what are you talking about? You mean there's a union or a joint of some kind on the wall that screws onto the nose of the sub?
Not at all. The submarine is rammed into that hole, then it is revolved.
The sub is revolved?
Precisely.
What did I tell you about that precisely?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jerry.
Okay, let it go this time. Now to get back to this boat thing. You mean that the whole boat, 100-foot submarine, is revolved until the nose is screwed tight into that hole?
Exactly, Jerry. Then the water is pumped out of this room and the hatch in the nose opened.
Well, of all the wild things I ever heard of. Then when we get into that thing now, they'll shut the nose up, fill this room to equalize the pressure with the water outside, and then roll the boat over and over till they get it loose from here?
Yes, of course. Jerry. Why, what is the matter, Jerry? You do not look well.
Oh, I'm all right, I guess. But it makes me feel kind of funny to think about us being in that boat when they wind it up out of there. There must be 20 or 30 threads around that hole. Are they going to turn that boat over and over 20 times with me inside of it?
24 times, Jerry.
Oh.
But you will not turn over with the boat.
You mean I won't know it when I do? Well, maybe you're right.
No, Jerry. Just the shell of the boat turns. The inside assembly, the turbines, the compressors, everything stays on an even keel while the boat revolves around it.
Well, I hope it comes out all right, but I feel kind of green.
You look a peculiar color, too.
Well, I thought so.
Are you ready?
No. Oh, no.
We are ready, sir.
Your instructions are brief. You will make every effort to get this man Johnson to submit peacefully to bringing his boat to the island. If you fail, the commander will know what to do.
But how are we going to do this, G-47?
You will decide that for yourselves. As for you, Cleostra, if you allow this young fool to make a mistake, you will be left with the wreckage of Johnson's boat 300 miles from here.
I understand.
On your way. Do not keep the commander waiting.
Go on, Jerry. Crawl into that hole in the nose of the boat.
Just go into it head first?
Yes, hurry.
Okay, here goes. Okay, come on in, Joan. Are you all right?
Of course, Jerry. Oh, Jerry, take your hand away from there, quick.
Oh, gee. That thing nearly caught my hand. Look at old G47 grinning back there.
Now he is closing the door of the lock. See? And it will begin to fill with water. You and I will just sit here and be quiet.
There comes the water into the lock. Look, Joan. We can see right out into the water, just as if this boat was made of glass.
Yes, but no one can look in from the outside.
Boy, this is some long submarine. The commander looks about a half a mile from here.
She is 40 feet from us. Now, Jerry, she's reaching for the lever. We will start to revolve and clear the lock.
You mean we're going to go round and round now?
Yes, Jerry. See, the wall is beginning to move past us.
Oh.
Jerry, what is the matter? We are not turning over.
No, but the ocean is, and that's worse.
Over 90 feet below the surface of the ocean, Jerry and Joan are shoving off the Magic Island in a Euclidean submarine. This immense cigar-shaped boat, 100 feet long, capable of a speed of 40 miles an hour underwater, has a crew of only one man and is commanded by a beautiful Euclidean woman. All this is almost too much for Jerry, and when the boat is spun rapidly, over and over to clear it from the lock in the island wall, Jerry has a feeling that perhaps he wasn't cut out for a sailor's life after all. The submarine is just pulling away from the island.
Are you all right now, Jerry?
Oh, I don't think I'll ever be. Oh, Joan, when I saw the sides of this boat going past me like a moving picture, oh, boy.
Have you ever been in a submarine before?
No, and never again. It's not so bad now, though. But what's making us go through the water? Why doesn't that she-skipper up there turn on the engines?
The engines, as you call them, are on. The motive power is active now, although very little of it is being used.
I don't hear anything or see anything running. Can't even hear the water going past the outside. But I can see it all right.
The motive power is a gas, a very powerful explosive gas generated in those tanks and blown out through exhaust pipes.
But they couldn't carry much gas in those tanks. How far can this boat cruise on the gas they've got aboard now?
I do not know how many cubes of the solidified gas the commander is carrying, but I have known one of these boats to run from Euclidia to York, California, and return.
What? 8,000 miles without refueling?
Yes, Jerry. Is that so much more than your boats will do?
I wouldn't even tell you what's the best our boats will do after that. 8,000 miles on the water. At what speed?
I think the regular cruising speed does not exceed 30 knots per hour.
Oh, that's too bad. The regular cruising speed of a boat in 15 fathoms of water is only 30 miles an hour. What holds it back?
Is that not good, Jerry?
Look, Joan, I wouldn't kid you. It's so good that nobody in our world even dreams about such things. We put them in nice, big, strong houses and take care of them if they talk like that. Hey, look at the shadow coming down through the water. Is that a whale?
Of course not. That is the shadow of one of the battleships overhead. Had you forgotten we are under a fleet of ships maneuvering?
Oh, yeah. Well, I forgot a lot of things when I got into this boat. Gee, right over our heads is a fleet of battleships, maybe from the United States, though any other country would do just as well. And here we are. No way in the world to get word to them. And this woman commander has taken us out to capture your mother's other boat.
Yes, Jerry. And you must be very careful what you say and do. The commander is a very hard woman. And SE-1, the submarine engineer, is nothing but a human machine. You will find no sympathy or kindness if you cross either of them.
Your mother felt pretty bad when Captain Bradford ordered me to go on the submarine. But, well, I guess Tex knew what he was doing.
Captain Bradford has great faith in you, Jerry. And he knows you will find a way to warn Johnson of our coming. If there is a way.
But there isn't. And I can tell you, from the looks of this thing here, there isn't going to be. And even if I could warn Johnson, what could I tell him?
If he could only get away from here, his boat will travel faster on the surface than this one under it.
Yeah. But if I scare him away, even if I could, it might be the worst thing in the world to do.
I do not see why, Jerry.
Because it'll take that pigeon 3 or 4 hours more to get to his boat. And if the pigeon is lost, we can't do a thing. Our only chance is to find Johnson and have him stay as close as he is and hope the pigeon gets to him before we do.
The pigeon had over an hour's start ahead of us, Jerry.
Yeah, and that pigeon can fly as fast as this boat will go. But when Johnson won't have time to do anything before the boat catches him.
It all seems very hopeless, Jerry. But something may give us a chance to aid Mr. Johnson.
I'm getting tired of G47 and all his men never making a mistake. I bet if we could use our heads a little, we could figure some way to outsmart that girl up there in the control seat.
It would not be wise to try it.
Gee, she heard me.
Of course, Jerry. These submarines are covered by a system of microphones and amplifiers. When will you learn that there is no privacy among the Euclideans?
Well, can we come up and talk to you, Commander?
You may speak to me from there if you have anything to say.
I got plenty to say.
Proceed.
Well, forget it.
It would be as well for you to forget it.
Please, Jerry, do not try to say anything more.
J12C to J24Y.
Johnson!
Yes, Jerry.
J12C on the radio in the south.
J24Y. Hello, J24. Hello. Must have a report from you, J24Y. We'll stop sending and change course if no answer to this call. J12C to J24Y.
What can I do now, Joan?
You will come up here to the control section at once.
Do as she asks, Jerry. I will stay here.
But, Joan...
I know best, Jerry. I would have been asked to come up if I had been wanted.
Hurry, you fool.
I'm coming. Sit tight, Joan, and don't worry.
Be careful, Jerry. Do exactly as the commander tells you. Be very careful, Jerry.
You will sit here and do as I tell you. Sit down there.
Now what?
My microphone is before you, and you will send this message to J12C. I have been waiting for his call to get his wavelength. You will send the following message.
Send it to whom?
You know perfectly well. This is the message. You will call J12C exactly as you would from the Gregory yacht. You will call him in a natural manner. Tell him you are all safely on the island, but the yacht is wrecked. You cannot leave, and he must come to you. Answer any questions he asks, but answer them carefully. Make it plain that he must hurry to the island.
And then what happens to Johnson when he gets to the island?
Do not act stupid. You know as well as I that Johnson has the material aboard for compounding Captain Bradford's formula, and that a pigeon left your yacht with instructions to Johnson as to how to use the formula to attack Euclidia. The pigeon may arrive at the boat, but Johnson will never use that formula. Now, send the message.
Yeah? And what if I don't?
You have seen these ray guns before, I think?
Jerry, do as you are ordered. You can gain nothing by refusing.
This is the funniest place. People talk to you from all over the boat.
You may gape at the wonder of this boat later. Now send the message, and remember, one mistake and I will use this ray gun. Then I will proceed to Johnson's boat and sink it with all on board.
All right. Oh, I'm ready. Tell me when to go.
At this depth and distance, I will need the generators. When I start them, watch the filament in that tube. When it glows, speak. And remember to say nothing to arouse suspicion. Now silence until you see that tube glow.
Now, you just take it easy, Pat. There's nothing we can do to help those kids out there in the submarine. And no way to get word to Johnson.
Oh, but Tex, just to sit here in this useless radio cabin.
Hold it, Pat. Listen.
Is that coming out of the radio, Tex?
Yeah, funny, too. It's on Johnson's private wavelength. He hasn't got any power on board that you could hear building up like that.
Perhaps something's happened to his boat.
I don't know. Since that last message of his saying he would change his course, I don't know what to expect.
To J12C. J24Y calling J12C. Hello, J12. Hello, J12.
Tex, it's Jerry calling Johnson.
Yes, and I don't like it. Jerry's in that submarine. I'll bet they're making him call Johnson.
J12C. Hello, J12. Jerry Hall on J24Y. Calling J12C.
Johnson doesn't answer.
He may be out of the cabin for a minute. Remember, he's been trying to get us for days without an answer.
Yes, of course. What can be going on in that submarine? Joan.
Oh, if Joan's all right, I won't mind so much.
Hello, Jerry. J12C to J24Y. Go ahead, J24Y. Go ahead.
I have a message for you, J12C, from Captain Bradford. We are safe on the island at position as given you before. Our transmitter has been out of order. Could not talk to you, but have heard all your messages. Yacht is completely wrecked. Cannot leave island. You must come to rescue. Island position, latitude 29 degrees south, longitude 124 degrees 30 minutes west. Hurry to the island. All standing it fine, except Bosun. He seems nervous. We'll be glad to see you. Come at once.
Okay, J24Y. Okay, Jerry Hall. Coming at once. My position now is 25 degrees south, 124 west. Should raise you in less than 6 hours. 73s to all on board. Johnson.
Oh, Tex. Jerry is bringing Johnson right into all this.
I know it, Pat, but there isn't anything else you can do. I can imagine every move they're making on board that submarine. Jerry's sitting there with one of those ray guns in his back while he sends a message as G47 or one of his assistants directs.
But the pigeon with the message to Johnson. Tex, it will get to Johnson's boat just too late to do any good.
That's the part of it that's going to come out all right. I don't know just how, but it will.
How can you say that? You know the pigeon will get to Johnson's boat only an hour or two before he meets the submarine. And Johnson doesn't even know the pigeon is... Why, Tex. Jerry's message.
Right, Pat. Jerry said the bosun was nervous. That's enough for Johnson. He'll know the bosun's flying out there somewhere with a message for him. He'll know there was something wrong with the message Jerry sent.
I wonder if Joan is all right on that submarine.
Joan's all right as long as Jerry is. He'll take care of her.
But how much could either of them do against the power of G47 if he wanted to do something to them?
Not much, of course. But G47 won't do anything to one of us until he gets his hands on my formula. We're safe until then.
He'll have the formula as soon as he gets Johnson's boat and the message off the pigeon.
No, he won't.
Well, you didn't send the formula with Bosun?
No, but I did send the number of the safety deposit box where the formula may be found in Los Angeles. Only Johnson would understand what that number meant. So even if Johnson is captured, they still haven't the formula.
Then Johnson will simply be another prisoner on this island. And all of his crew and our other boat will be tied up here. We're only getting in deeper and deeper, Tex.
Yes, but we'll have quite an organization on this island then. It won't be so one-sided, and a lot of things can happen.
Tex, listen. Something's happened.
I'll see. Pat, get out of here quick. Run for that ramp up the side of the lock.
What's happened, Tex?
The lock gate's breaking. The ocean's coming in here, and we're 50 feet below the water level. Hurry, Pat. Come on, run. Go ahead, run.
Now, step into the incredible, amazing future as we go exploring tomorrow. And now, here is your guide to these adventures of the mind, John Campbell, Jr.
Last night, as I was going up the stair, I met a little man who wasn't there. He wasn't there again today. My gosh, I wish he'd go away. I think it was Gillette Burgess who penned those immortal lines. How do you get rid of a little man who isn't there in the first place? Well, Peter Manson was a physicist, a scientist. And his trouble started with a little man who wasn't there.
Submatrix X integrated to pi over 2 plus confound.
May I come in, Mr. Manson?
Why,
Thank you. Are you alone?
Yes.
Well, then she hasn't arrived yet.
I wasn't expecting anybody.
Oh, I am, but if she isn't here yet, I'll have some time to explain.
Who is
Well,
it?
one thing at a time, sir. Now, first, have you ever considered the problem of time travel?
Time travel? Why, that's impossible.
Oh, now don't say impossible because you invented it.
I've done nothing of the sort.
History says you did.
What history?
History says that you invented time travel machinery and applied for a United States patent on June 16, 1964.
What history? That's 6 years from now.
Ah, but not from my point of view. You see, I've used one of your own time machines to come back from your future, 50 years through my past to this date, your present. Do you understand?
You claim you have traveled 50 years through time?
I am here. That's proof.
I don't believe a word of it.
Well, look 'em over. This is your own personal notebook, 50 years later than it is now. Actually, that's the same one that's on your desk right now. Now, this is a copy of your patent. Now, these documents say I'm right. I say so. You see, in my day, you are the wealthy and famous Peter Manson.
Well, do you want my autograph? You may be right, but I'm not wealthy yet.
Oh, I'm not after anything. I'm here to help you.
I don't need any help.
Do you know the first thing about your future?
Of course not.
Well, I do. I know just about everything that you're going to do in the next 50 years.
Prove it. What am I going to do next?
You are about to be introduced to the woman who will become your wife.
I already know her. We're engaged.
Oh, you mean Laura Phillips. Well, no doubt she's a nice enough girl, but she's not for you. You'll break that engagement shortly.
I'll do no such thing.
History says you did. Not will do. Did.
But you... Yes. Yes, Laura. No, Laura, not... But, Laura...
Go on, tell her now and get it over with.
You shut up. No, Laura, I didn't mean you. No. No, Laura, she's not here. She hung up.
Oh, wouldn't listen to you, huh? And that's your fiancée.
She wouldn't do that.
Is this,
Oh, Miss Carter, now we've been expecting you. Please come in.
all right, but just for a minute. No, Harry, you wait by the door, but stay close.
Now, Miss Amelia Carter, may I present...
Get that dame out of here.
Dame?
Please, now, this is hardly a way to start a lifetime.
Lifetime?
Yes, history says so. 50 years and still going when I left. Now, stop this hostility. You might as well save time, too, now. Now, start off with the first names. Amelia, this is Peter. Peter, be nice to Amelia. You really should be gracious, generous, anxious to create a good first impression.
Don't tell me how to behave.
Don't you blow a fuse, Grandpa.
Grandpa!
I am Peter Emil Manson III, your grandson. And note that the middle name is the masculine form of Amelia, your wife, my grandmother.
Grandmother?
Yes, indeed. Your son is my father.
But I'm not married yet.
Oh, but you will be. Now, Grandpa, you sit here.
Cut this grandpa stuff right now.
Well, I'm sorry, but I've been taught that it's impolite to call my grandparents by their given names. Of course, you don't look much like the old duffer that I know as Grandpa.
Oh,
now,
Grandpa,
calm down and you start making like romance. You know, you're not even engaged to Grandma yet.
Don't call me Grandma.
Pardon me, it is impertinent, but you are quite a dish. Now that I've seen you in your youth, I can understand why Grandpa threw over this Laura Phillips girl. I can hardly believe that you'll become that sweet little old lady.
Mr. Manson, what's he talking about?
He's a time traveler from the future who says he can prove that we met, got married, and...
Now, don't go any further.
I'm afraid he's right. He says it's history, and we can't change history, can we?
But I hardly know you.
Well, if you'd known each other, I wouldn't have to introduce you, would I?
Maybe somebody'd better explain this to me.
Ah, fine. Now we're off to a start. Highball, Grandmother?
Yeah, I think I need one.
Now a little more romantic setting. Soft lights now. And now I'll leave you two to canoodle a bit. I've other things.
But Harry...
I'll take care of Harry. That'll be Laura. Run high. Do something. Oh, relax, Grandpa. I'll take care of everything.
Of course, Peter Manson wasn't the only one having trouble with the little man who wasn't there. No, the future cannot be handled logically. It's logically impossible because it doesn't exist yet. And if it doesn't exist, then obviously it isn't logical. But it's going to exist, so... Well, you see what I mean. Logic is just hopeless. I should ought to clobber you.
Oh, now be reasonable, Harry. It wouldn't prove anything.
But Amelia's my girl.
Get over it, Harry. They're probably arranging their engagement right now.
You meddler.
I am not a meddler, Laura. I'm just an instrument of fate.
Fate? Poor Peter thrown to that blonde liar.
Oh, you stop calling my girl names, you hear?
You're acting like a pair of spoiled children. Now stop it. I regret that you've lost your loves, but really no one ever actually died of unrequited love.
Mine wasn't unrequited.
Well, it might as well be once they're happily married.
Happily married?
Well, you wouldn't want them unhappy, would you?
No, I'd like a little happiness myself.
Well, so would we all. But stop and think. Now, if the number of human lives depended upon your giving up a love affair, would you go on selfishly and marry the man anyway?
Well, that's hardly fair.
Well, then I'll put it up to Harry.
Harry, if your own life depended upon preventing a wrong marriage, would you stand by and let them go ahead?
Make your own point. You're the meddler.
All right. My life depends upon it. My father's life depends upon it. Unless Peter Manson and Amelia Carter marry, neither my father nor I can be born. Now, knowing this, I used my grandfather's time machine, came back to give a formal introduction. Now, you can't blame me for wanting to live, so I came back and I fixed it up.
Yes, you're a great little fixer-upper.
Maybe we should ought to fix you up and then go on as we please about it.
You don't know much about time and history, do you?
No, but I could make up a...
You could not change a thing.
Why not?
If your father and mother had never met, could you have been born?
Oh, don't be utterly ridiculous.
Now, don't ever be scornful of stating a simple fact. I exist, therefore I am. Now, say it as you please. To you, Peter and Amelia will marry. To me, Peter and Amelia married 50 years ago. Now, the sensible thing to do is to accept the fact, wipe it off the slate, pick up the pieces, and go on from there.
Such as?
Well, now, you're both very attractive people. You have a common bond of memory.
Hey, my type.
Well, I've looked at better myself.
Oh, Gad, this is a primitive era. Tell folks what's best for them, and they want to... What is the term, Harry?
Clobber you.
Yes, that's right. Clobber me.
That's the best idea I've heard all night.
No, not here. Outside, where I can stop being a lady. Then I'll help you.
Well, you can beat me up, but you can't change something that's already happened. Now, can you?
Look, I've taken all I can. I'm going home.
Can I?
That is a fine, practical arrangement. Find sympathy in one another. It's the better thing to do. And maybe you'll find happiness with one another, too.
Can't we get out of this, Smith?
Well, if I cut my throat, I can't invent the time machine, and then he couldn't come back and mess up our lives by forcing me to marry you.
You'd rather commit suicide than marry me.
Oh, now, Amelia, stop it. That's not so.
Oh, so you'd rather marry me than commit suicide.
Stop the bawling and let me think.
Peter, you think you'd go away from me to look like everything was running smooth?
What do you mean?
Well, suppose we stopped squabbling and complaining and made up to one another so he'd think we were happy and convinced that he's right. Maybe he'd be satisfied and go back where he came from. Then we could do as we please.
Won't work.
Why not?
That character is our grandson, Amelia. Already he knows what we're going to do.
Well, aren't you even willing to try?
I'll try, but it's futile. What did you have in mind?
Well, I just know he's coming back tonight. We could make it look as if we'd been getting acquainted.
Well, what have we been doing for the past couple of hours playing tiddly... Hey, let go, my God.
Oh, just looking up a little. If we were really getting acquainted, we'd not look as if we'd been sitting with folded hands. Hey, stop that.
Well, if you really loved me, you wouldn't mind my mussing up your hairdo then.
All right. There. Now we look like we've been wrestling. Where's my bag?
What for?
Lipstick. You should have a few smears.
Well, with you looking like a magazine cover, lipstick is a two-way smear, right?
Oh, yeah. I suppose so.
You sound as though Harry was the only man you ever kissed.
If we ever get around to it, Peter Manson, you'll be the only man that's ever been kissed just because history said he had to be. So there. If I got it.
All right. Once for history.
Let's see you now.
You need more of the spread.
You need a touch right there. Oh, still yet.
There's one thing history didn't mention.
What, Peter?
History didn't say this could be fun.
Peter, it'd be funny, wouldn't it?
What could be funny?
This trick worked.
And then?
You and me found out after he'd drawn that we really did like it.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
Peter?
Yes?
Open up the door.
Yeah, so let him wait. Now remember to look flustered.
And try to wipe your face, too.
Well, I see everything's progressing fine.
All right, now, go away.
Oh, I'm not going to stay. I just wanted to see how things were getting along. I know when I'm not wanted.
Then why did you come here in the first place?
Well, you think you hate me for my interference, but you wait and remember. In 50 years, the pair of you will be sending me off in my time machine to do this job of fixing up.
And you, Grandma...
Stop calling me Grandma.
Still my Grandma, and you'll tell me that you and Grandpa actually wasted your first kisses trying to fool me into leaving. So now I'll trot along, but I'll be back tomorrow. And don't you keep her out too late, Grandpa.
What'd you do with Harry?
Oh, I fixed that up fine. Harry volunteered to escort Grandpa's former girlfriend to her home.
Harry and Laura?
Laura with Harry?
Peter?
Yes, Amelia.
To heck with history. Kiss me once.
Oh, for goodness sake, it's 3 o'clock.
I know what time it is.
But
What I want to know is what you're doing there.
I'm trying to think.
Yes, you look as if you've got it all settled.
Oh, what can I do?
You might wash that blonde hussy's magenta lipstick off your silly face.
Now, Laura, I can explain.
I'm listening. Convince me that you got all smeared up without enjoying it.
Come on, convince me.
You went home with Harry the Beef Trust, didn't you?
Well, I didn't see anyone around making me another offer.
But I will.
I know. Working like a little beaver, making history come out right.
Well, what am I supposed to do? Bang my head against brick walls, tilt at windmills? Confound it, am I the only one around here with sense enough to know when I'm licked?
Well, you might not be so completely licked if Amelia Carter were as ugly as a mud fence.
Well, it does make my defeat less difficult to bear.
Well, make it complete, then. Have this expanded to fit her pudgy little hand.
My ring. But, Laura...
Goodbye, Peter.
Wait, don't go.
What's to stay for? To be a maid of honor?
If you came to quarrel with me, you yourself are doing everything to prove Junior's point. If he were here, he'd be cheering you into hating me and using my telephone for calling Harry to take you home.
Look, I didn't come here to fight with you, Peter. I came here to fight for you. But you're not fighting.
Junior knows all the moves. No matter what I try, everything turns out his way.
It's like your experimental smooching session.
Yeah, that too. He was amused.
I'm not. May have started as a deliberate frame-up, but it certainly ended up ginger peachy for his little old program.
I tell you, he knows every move. He came back here just to tell Amelia and me that you had gone home with Harry.
And 50 years from now, you and Amelia will dodder over to his time machine and kiss your brat of a grandson goodbye as he goes off to make the introduction. That's the program, isn't it?
Well, what can we do?
Peter, you say everything's fixed and solid. It can't be changed.
Well, that's the way it is.
But let's just suppose that you could quietly unfix Junior's little apple cart.
Well, then we'd go on as if he never arrived.
Well, couldn't you?
I can't prevent what's already happened. He exists. He is. He's here in the flesh.
No. I suppose you can't change that, can you?
No.
Well, then, goodbye, Peter.
Wait a minute, Laura. What if Junior were a different kind of guy?
What do you mean?
Look, Laura, he's the grandson of Amelia and me, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I don't marry Amelia, he doesn't get born. He can't exist unless we follow every move right down to the last letter of the historic record he talks about, right?
Yes, but...
Let's assume that the future is not a firm and solid hunk of recorded history.
Well, everyone but you and Junior have been saying that all along, but you keep pointing at Junior's history book and saying no.
But suppose that Junior's history book is only one of many possible histories.
Then how do you explain his solid existence?
Floating a brick on water is not impossible. It's just extremely unlikely.
Oh, stop sounding like a mathematics professor, Peter. Get to this important point.
Until Junior arrived with his books and his papers to show me, us, how we were going to act, he was rather unlikely as a future probability.
Mm-hmm.
But once he convinces us and introduces me to Amelia, Junior's existence becomes a very strong probability. In other words, he exists because he did the fixing that put history on the road that leads directly to him.
Well... you could rob a bank and get tossed in jail, and that would stop you from marrying anybody.
Well, we can't change things that drastically. But we might slip a little change in Junior's character.
How can we do that?
Suppose we could create another very strong future probability. Mightn't he come back and fight just as strong for his own existence?
But how can you do anything like that?
Laura, would you marry me right here and now?
Peter, at 3 o'clock in the morning? Peter, it's Junior again. Don't go. Oh, no.
Well, good morning. I'm in time, I see. You come in. I was hoping you would arrive. I'm the Reverend Peter Laurel Manson III. You'll notice that my middle name is the masculine form of the given name of my grandmother, Laura.
Peter, here is the other probability.
Precisely. Let's get along with it quickly before something else happens. Please, we must not be impatient. There must be witnesses. But I have prepared for everything. Everything. Will you permit me? come in. Oh, this is a most auspicious occasion.
Amelia!
And Harry, what are they doing here? People here appear to have forgotten that a man has 4 grandparents.
Well, I'm still a bit confused.
Oh, my dear, if I had not been prepared for this rare and happy occasion, I should be quite disturbed. It isn't often that a man has the opportunity of officiating at a double wedding ceremony uniting his grandparents.
Can you make this stick?
Yes. Now, unless I double-cross this double ceremony, Peter, take Laura's hand and stand away over here on my left. Now we all sort it out properly. Fine. History says that Peter and Laura will have a stalwart son. Harry and Amelia will have a fine daughter. Son and daughter are my own parents.
Are you sure?
I arrived a bit late, my dear, because I have been quite a busy man. I made a stopover on my trip through time, pausing long enough to unite in marriage your son with their daughter. It was a lovely wedding.
Time goes by, woman needs man, man must have his mate. If that doesn't mean you got to be stuck with any particular mate. There's freedom of choice there. See, the only way you can get rid of the little man who isn't there is to have a different little man not there. That takes care of it.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look! Up in the sky! The bird!
It's a plane!
It's Superman!
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another world who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way. But before we join Superman, here is an important message.
Say, gang, have you heard the exciting story of the Coast Guards whose lives were saved by a lot of pigs? Well, sir, it actually happened. These Coast Guards were engaged in landing operations off the African coast. The sea was very rough.
Okay, men. We've landed all our troops and equipment. Let's get back to our base. Give it the juice, Sam. Oh, we're stuck in the sand, Henry. I can't pressure. Well, keep at it, Sam. We're leaking badly as it is. Oh, my gosh. Both propellers are busted clean off. We're finished now, all right. Uh-huh. Well, we'll just go ashore and catch up with the Army troops over there in that village. Hey, Sam. There's an enemy patrol heading this way. Come on, into this shed. Henry, we're in a pig pen. It's too dark to see him, but I'll bet there's at least a dozen pigs in here. Right next to us. That's perfect, Sam. They'll never find us here. Come on, get over in this corner and pull us over.
For 5 long days, those 2 Coast Guards lived in the pig pen. Finally, the town was surrendered to American troops, and they emerged, still full of fight and energy. Now, gang, those 2 Coast Guards might not have been able to survive their tough experiences if they hadn't been in A1 condition. But they were. They had plenty of real stamina. And while we're on the subject of stamina, I want to give all of you a really helpful suggestion. None of you can expect to grow up sturdy and strong unless you eat right, which includes getting all your vitamins. And I can't think of a better way to start getting 2 very valuable vitamins, B1 and D, than by sitting down to a swell big bowl full of crisp, delicious Kellogg's Pep for breakfast every morning. And boy, oh boy, are those crunchy golden flakes grand eating. Ask your mother to get you a package of wholesome, delicious Kellogg's Pep tomorrow. Remember the name now, Pep, P-E-P.
And now, the adventures of Superman. As you know, Superman in his guise of Clark Kent is now pitted against the most powerful criminal in the world, a mastermind known as the Vulture, who has once again succeeded in getting his hands on the irreplaceable model of Dr. Cameron's Mechanical Man. In our last episode, we heard how the Vulture enlisted the aid of a man named Smith to build an 8-foot replica of the Mechanical Man, a veritable monster to do his evil bidding. But more than that, the Vulture is planning a campaign of vengeance against Clark Kent and Perry White, As our last episode ended, Jimmy Olsen had fallen into a trap set for him by the master criminal. And this, as we learned, was the first step in what the Vulture called an experiment in horror. Yet, strangely enough, as our story continues, we find Jimmy sitting in the lavish study of the Vulture's hideout, very much at his ease as he eats a large ice cream sundae. And sitting across from him is the Vulture himself. Listen.
There. Boy, that tasted good.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, Jimmy.
Say, listen, mister, just watch your game anyhow.
You'll find it a very interesting game, I think. Just what don't you understand?
Well, for one thing, I know I'm a prisoner here. When I tried to get out, I found all the doors locked, the windows, too. Besides, you haven't made any bones about telling me I can't leave.
Oh?
So I've got the feeling that this isn't just a nice sociable party.
That's right, Jimmy.
Oh, I don't get it. Why are you treating me so nicely, then?
I'll explain. For one thing, I dislike physical pain. So much that I am incapable of inflicting it on others. For instance, if I were to torture you, I'm sure the torture would hurt me more than it would you. Besides, if I inflicted pain on you, I'm certain you wouldn't give me the satisfaction of showing it. Now, would you?
You bet I wouldn't. You can do what you like to me. You'd never get me to beg for mercy. As long as I could hold out anyhow.
Quite so. Then there'd be no point in physical torture. But mental torture, there is something else again. It's the principle Hitler uses, for instance, to force people to do his bidding.
You mean you're going to make me do something for you?
No, not you. Now, look. Suppose Clark Kent and Lois Lane and Editor White of the Daily Planet were led to believe that you were being tortured. Suppose you yourself were to give them that impression.
If you think I'd do a thing like that, you're crazy. Suppose you want me to pull the old gag about calling them on the phone and telling them you're torturing me, eh?
Oh, no, nothing as crude and obvious as that.
Well, just what are you going to do?
You'll see, Jimmy. It's quite an amusing and ingenious little game. By the time I'm through, Kent and the others will believe that I am torturing you as the Indians tortured white captives. They'll be in a frenzy to find you and stop it. And the fact that they won't be able to find you practically drives them mad. Very amusing.
Yeah, very funny.
Oh, you don't think so?
No, that's a horrible thing to do. Do anything you want to me, anything you hear, but leave them alone.
Can't you stand it?
I can stand anything. Do your worst. Don't do anything to hurt my friend.
Well, we'll see. I'll think over my plan a little further before doing anything about it. However, you're still my prisoner, so I shall ask you to go back into that room we've set aside for you.
Okay, there's nothing else I can do. Right now, anyhow.
Into the room now. I'll lock you in, if you don't mind. Little fool, he played into my hands perfectly. Ring for Judson. Well, Judson?
Everything works perfectly, sir.
Good. You made a recording of that conversation I just had with the young man?
I did, sir.
Excellent. By guiding the conversation, I managed to make him say, let me see. Yes. Once he said, "You can do what you like to me. You'll never get me to beg for mercy."
Yes, sir.
We can use that beautifully in the record I'm going to make. Then he said, "That's a horrible thing to do. Do anything you want to me, anything you hear, but leave them alone."
Splendid material, sir, for putting on the record we're going to make, eh?
Perfect. And also, in an angry tone, he used the one word, "no." We can use that over and over again, Judson. Just that one word, "no."
I must congratulate you, sir. You're a remarkably clever man.
I am indeed, Judson. I am.
Our scene now changes to the office of Editor White in the Daily Planet. The time, a few hours later. Editor Perry White is striding up and down his office angrily while Clark Kent looks on.
And you, it's a fool to go chasing off on a call across town to police headquarters, leaving that kid unguarded.
It was a beautifully planned job. And you know I was expecting some sort of word from Inspector Henderson about the mechanical man. Naturally, when Lois called me and said Henderson had telephoned for me to come to headquarters right away, I went. When I got there and Henderson told me he hadn't called at all, well, then I knew something was wrong.
No, I suppose I shouldn't blame you, Kent. I'd have fallen for the same trick myself, I guess. After all, neither of us is Superman.
No, you're half right. Well, I mean, you've got something there.
Yes, and neither is that miracle man, this Houdini of the underworld, who calls himself the Vulture. He's no Superman any more than you or me. So if he could capture that kid right under our noses, we can get him back. And we've got to get him back. Do you hear, Kent? We've got to get him back.
Well, of course we do. And why keep me here? Let me get out and get started on the search. We've got to find out where the Vulture's new hideout is before we can rescue Jimmy, and we'll never do it sitting here.
We're staying here until Inspector Henderson calls and lets us know what his men have uncovered. Practically, the entire police force is combing the city. There's nothing we can do but wait.
Well, there's plenty Superman could do if he could only get away from here.
What's that? Oh, what'd you say?
Nothing.
You said something about Superman. I distinctly heard... Oh, wait a minute. That may be the inspector now. Wife speaking. Oh, yes, Lois. No, not a thing yet. Now, Lois, in the name of heaven, hold on to yourself. There's no point in crying. You are crying. I can hear you sniffling over the phone. Now, stop worrying. We'll find the boy. But... What? Well, this is one time that Superman is not here, and that's all there is to it. All right, Lois, goodbye. The fool girl blubbering out something about if only Superman were here.
Look, Chief, I can't stay here waiting for that call from Henderson any longer. I want to find Jimmy, and I've got to get going.
You'll stay here, or I'll know the reason why.
Jimmy Olsen's in trouble. That's the reason why.
Can't I warn you?
Excuse me, Mr. White. Package just arrived for you.
All right. Give it here. I wonder what this can be.
Looks like a phonograph record.
It is a record. One of those homemade things. Hello, look what it says on the label. To Clark Kent, Perry White, and Lois Lane. For news of Jimmy Olsen, play this record.
What?
And Kent. It's signed The Vulture.
Oh, for heaven's sake, let's play it. Come on, the music critic down the hall has the portable phonograph. Come on.
Yeah. Well, if anything has happened to that kid...
We'll soon know. Whatever you're thinking goes double for me.
Here's the music critic's office. He isn't here, but his phonograph is. Come on in, close the door.
I'll start the machine.
All right, I'll get the record on. Yeah. Just a minute now. I don't want to break it. There. Okay, now put the needle on.
Right.
This is the Vulture speaking. This is meant to acquaint you with a few pleasantries that are now happening to your friend, Jimmy Olsen. I have made a recording of an incident that took place at 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Boy, it's just 5 now. 2 hours of
Listen and listen carefully. I can stand in. Do your work.
What?
I intend to do my worst, young man. You see these instruments? You know what they're for? You can do what you like to me. You never get me to beg for mercy.
Good for you.
When I get started, young fellow, I think you'll change your mind. No. Oh, yes, you will. This instrument, for instance, you know what it can do. You know what I can accomplish with it. That's a horrible thing to do. Yes, quite. But that's my nature. Besides, I have a little score to settle with your friends. The next time they see you, Jimmy, they won't find you a pleasant sight. Now then, let's begin. No. I will spare you, gentlemen, and Miss Lane, the scene that follows. I do think you have by this time some idea of what it means to get in the way of the Vulture.
Why, that's
As
dirty.
you know, I have the model of the mechanical man. I advise you to let me keep it. Take the police off my trail. But I warn you, persist in your efforts to block me, and the same thing will happen to you that is now happening to Jimmy.
What? The filthy ratbag. Chief. I can't talk. I feel sick. And my stomach.
You better go back to your office and sit down.
But he's torturing that boy, Kent. I can't do it.
Do as I suggest, Chief. I'll be with you in a minute.
Oh, well, what are you going to do?
I just want to play this record again.
Oh, Kent, how could you bear it? Oh, that poor kid.
Please, Chief, please, go on back to your office.
All right, I'll go.
I'll be right along. Play this record again? Oh, no. But this record is going to be mighty helpful, so I'll take it with me. The Vulture is clever, but this time he's overstepped himself. He's given me the clue I was waiting for. This is the job
For Superman. There's not a moment to lose. Off with these clothes. There we are. Now, up with this window. And out. Out! And away!
Once again, Superman, the Man of Steel, takes to the trail. In just a moment, we'll return to the adventures of Superman. But right now, here is another important message.
The other day, I happened to ask my pal Jerry Link which meal he liked best, breakfast, dinner, or supper. Well, he didn't waste any time. He came right out for breakfast. That's because, according to Jerry, a fellow's likely to be hungry as a bear in the morning, and everything just seems to taste better right then. So I want to tip all of you off to something really swell. Just you try treating yourself to a bowl full of crisp, crunchy, golden Kellogg's Pep for breakfast with plenty of milk, and see if that doesn't make your breakfast a mighty fine occasion, too. Yes, there's something about the grand, light crispness and real tempting flavor of Pep that sure enough hits the spot at breakfast time. So ask your mother to get you a package of delicious Kellogg's Pep tomorrow. And remember,
Pep, Pep. Get in step. Make your cereal Kellogg's Pep.
And now back to Superman. Although we know that no harm has been done to Jimmy Olsen, the Vulture has cleverly made it appear that the boy is being tortured by using a recording of Jimmy's voice. But what did Superman mean when he said the Vulture has been just a little too clever? What clue has Superman found in the record? And how will he be able to follow that clue to the Vulture's hideout? Don't miss the next exciting episode. Be sure to be with us tomorrow and every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station, for the thrilling Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. The bird.
It's a plane.
It's Superman.
Follow the Adventures of Superman every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station. Superman is directed by George Lothar and is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine. This is Mutual.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. The bird.
It's a plane.
It's Superman.
Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from another world who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way. But before we join Superman, here is an important message.
Say, gang, here's an adventure that's so fantastic you'd hardly believe it's really true. It's the story of one young Marine who all by himself survived 3 whole weeks of fighting in the jungles of Guadalcanal. He'd gotten lost from his platoon one morning and was hiding in the grass.
Hey, fellas, where are you? Hey! I wonder where they could have gone. Maybe up this trail. Holy smoke, a gang of Japs. I can't get around them. Gee, I wonder what Say, I bet this trick will work. Come on, fellas. Let's get them.
Yes, sir, that Marine stampeded a large group of Japs by pretending he was a whole platoon. And then he went on through the jungle. And at last, one rainy night...
Gee, lights ahead. I must have hit a camp. I sure wish I could tell whose it is. I'll crawl a little closer. Why, say, that looks like my own gang. Hey, Sam! Joe! Hey, fellas, it's me! Hey, here I am!
Yes, sir, after 3 weeks fighting the jungle and the Japs, that Marine got back to camp safely. Now, I don't have to tell any of you how much endurance that Marine had to have in order to come through his ordeal as well as he did. So I'll just point out something that all of you will be mighty glad to know. None of you can expect to have plenty of zip and energy unless you eat right, which includes getting all your vitamins. And I know hundreds of fellas and girls are starting to get 2 mighty important vitamins, B1 and D, in a mighty grand-tasting way. It's by sitting down to a big bowl full of delicious Kellogg's Pep for breakfast every morning. And believe you me, anybody who's had a taste of those swell, super crisp golden flakes can tell you what downright good eating Pep is. So ask your mother to get you a package of Kellogg's Pep tomorrow.
And now, the Adventures of Superman. Superman, in his guise of Clark Kent, is now pitted against the master criminal of his time, a nefarious underworld character who calls himself the Vulture. The Vulture, as you remember, has in his possession the model of the almost human mechanical man invented by Dr. Cameron. In our last episode, we heard how the Vulture carried out what he called an experiment in horror. After holding a conversation with Jimmy Olsen, Daily Planet copy boy, whom he's holding prisoner, the Vulture made a phonograph recording of Jimmy's answers and sent it to Editor White and Clark Kent. The record made it appear as if the Vulture were harming Jimmy, although actually, as we know, Jimmy has been well cared for. As our last episode ended, Clark Kent suddenly realized the record gave him just the clue he was looking for, and as Superman, set out to track it down. As our story continues now, Superman, in his guise of Clark Kent, arrives at the Worldwide Recording Company.
I'd like to see the manager, please.
Is he expecting you, sir?
No, but I must see him at once. This is a matter of great importance.
1 minute, please. I'll find out if
I'm sorry, I can't wait.
Further replying to yours of the 28th, I wish to state that... What the devil? What's the meaning of this? How dare you break in on me like this?
I apologize for intruding like this, but I've got some business with you, and it's got to be done fast.
Well, I'm afraid you'll have to wait until
I can't wait. It's a matter of life and death.
Life and death?
That's right. I'm assisting the police in tracking down a dangerous criminal, and you...
How do I know you represent the police?
You have to take my word for it. You sell machines for making records at home, don't you?
Yes. Well, they haven't been very successful. Not many people have bought them.
Well, that narrows my search. I want a list of the people who bought those machines.
Well, that ought to be simple. We've only sold 3 or 4 of them, actually. They're very expensive, you know.
I've got to know the names of the people who bought those machines at once. Now, please hurry.
1 moment. I think we can accommodate you.
Thank you.
Would you mind telling me why you need these names?
Well, now, there's hardly time for that.
I see.
You rang, sir?
Yes. Get from the files the name of all customers who have bought Model X4793, I believe, the home recording outfit.
Well, I'm afraid that's impossible, sir.
What do you mean?
Well, that's ridiculous. Why is it impossible?
Well, have you forgotten, sir? All those files were destroyed in the fire we had here 6 weeks ago.
Great Scott, of course. I'd completely forgotten that.
Well, haven't you duplicate files? I've got to get the names of those customers. I've just got to.
I'm afraid we can't help you, sir. All our files were completely destroyed.
That put me in a fine spot.
But isn't there any way you can trace this criminal you speak of?
Oh, I don't see how. You see, he sent us a recording with a special message on it, a recording made on one of your machines.
Yeah?
If you have no record of the people who bought these machines, I don't see what
Unless what?
There's just one way I can think of. It's my only chance, in fact. But it's got to work. It's got to.
As Kent prepares to follow a last desperate course of action, another scene is taking place in the hideout of the Vulture. We join him now in the sumptuous study, where he is seated across the table from Jimmy Olsen. On the table is a portable record player, and the Vulture has just finished playing a copy of the record he sent to Kent and Perry White. Listen.
You mean you sent that record to Mr. Kent and Mr. White?
Yes, my boy. I consider it rather ingenious of me to have thought of tricking you into playing that scene for me.
But you made it sound as if you'd been torturing me.
Exactly. That is how I planned it. My idea was to inflict great mental torture on your friends as revenge for their hounding me and, incidentally, to demonstrate that I am best left alone.
I'd rather you kill me than do a thing like this.
Oh, really? Well, it may interest you to know, young man, that your wish is about to be granted.
You're trying to bluff me. You wouldn't dare.
Wouldn't I?
But why? Why kill me? Why don't you just let me go?
So you can go back to your friends and let them know you're all right? Oh, no, that would spoil everything.
Now, wait a minute, Vulture. This is different from the other crimes you've committed. You're taking a chance.
It's very clever of you to stall for time like this. It will do you no good. I'm tired of this playing cat and mouse.
But I warn you. Wait a minute. What are you tying me in this chair for?
Because the mechanical man is going to do this job for me, it is necessary for you to remain perfectly motionless. And I doubt if you'll do that under the circumstances if you're not tied in. There. That'll do for your arms. Now, these ropes around your body.
You're going to kill me. Why go to all this trouble? Why not...
I have a sort of mania for doing things in an unusual fashion. There, I think that will do. You can't move, can you?
I'm warning you, Vulture. You're sticking your neck way out.
Your concern for my neck is very, very amusing. Now to get that rifle down off the wall from over the fireplace. I believe it's loaded. Yes. And now to stand it on the desk so that it is pointing straight across at you, and the mechanical man will fire it for me.
You're crazy, I tell you. When that rifle goes off, it'll be heard out in the street.
Oh, no, it won't. This is a soundproof room, especially constructed with double windows.
I'm warning you again. You see, whenever I've been in danger, my friend Superman has always managed to arrive in the nick of time. And he will this time, too. I hope.
Well, if your friend Superman is going to help you, he'd better hurry. Now then, all is ready. The gun is pointed straight at you. The mechanical man is standing at the end of the table. I shall take this control panel into the next room with me. From there, I shall order him to walk across the table and pull the trigger.
You rat. You'll pay for this.
We shall see. Goodbye, young Olsen.
Golly, if only Superman would show up. How can he know about this? I'm afraid I can't count on him this time. Better try to get out of these ropes if I can. No, it won't work. It's tied me to this chair plenty tight. I can't budge. I guess I'm a goner. Holy smoke. The eyes of the mechanical man are lit up. That means he's ready to work. He's starting to walk. Straight across the table toward the gun. Oh, I've got to get out of this chair. I just got to. I can only throw my body around and move the chair. No. The chair's too heavy. I can't budge it. Getting closer to that rifle. Superman. If he's going to help me, he better do it quick. He's never failed me before, but... The mechanical man has stopped. He's standing right next to the trigger of that rifle. He's leaning down toward the trigger. His hand is moving toward it. He's going to pull it.
Just in time, I think, Jimmy.
Superman. Oh, I knew it. I knew you'd save me. Oh, gosh.
A little close for comfort, Jim. Thank heaven I made it in time to catch that bullet. Here, let me get those ropes off you.
How in the world did you find me?
Well, your friend Clark Kent traced you here by means of that record the vulture sent him. You went to the company that makes home recording machines. Wait a minute now. There, your arms are free.
Oh.
But the files had been burned out.
Well, how did he manage then?
Well, his only remaining chance was to get in touch with a man who repairs such machines. He did, and as luck would have it, the man had repaired this one. Now, wait a minute. I'm going to have you out of this. There we are.
Oh, golly. Sure is good to stand up and... That door. The vulture's coming back.
So far as I'm concerned, that's just perfect.
Where did you come
You
from?
filthy swine.
Look out, the table. The mechanical man. It smashed to bits.
Let me see, quick. Yes, that's too bad. Afraid it's smashed beyond repair. And the parts can't be replaced. Well, Jim, that's the end of the mechanical man, I'm afraid. I can't say I'm sorry.
What do you mean?
A mechanical man such as this is a powerful instrument. And as you've seen, Jim, the danger of this invention being used for evil purposes has been ever present. Well, that danger's removed now. It'll never be used for evil again. And I'm glad.
I guess you're right. Anyway, you've saved my life and captured the vulture.
Yes, Jim, the vulture's our prisoner once again. And there's one thing this time that we've got to be sure of.
What's that?
We've got to make sure the vulture never escapes again.
And so ended the adventure of the mechanical man. But that certainly didn't mean the end of adventures for Superman, because at 5 o'clock the following morning, Clark Kent was roused from bed by the sound of a telephone ringing.
Hello? Chief, that you? What in the world are you calling me at this hour for? Well, it's just 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, yes, but... Wait a minute. Get down to the office right away. Well, what on earth for? You pack bags? With clothes for sub-zero weather? Well, now, yes, of course I'll be right down. But, Chief, what's this all about? What's up and where am I going? Hello? Hello? Hung up. Well, I better pack and get right down to the Daily Planet. I wonder what trouble we've got ourselves into now.
Puzzled by Perry White's strange phone call, but sure a new adventure is beginning, Kent hurriedly packs warm clothing and rushes down to the Daily Planet office, his mind awhirl with unanswered questions. In just a moment, we'll return to the adventures of Superman. But right now, here is another important message.
Say, gang, I've told you how golden and tempting Kellogg's Pep looks, and how crisp and crunchy and flavorsome Pep tastes. But the other day I got to thinking that I'd never told you why Pep is such a super breakfast cereal. So I found out from the Kellogg Company how Pep is made, and I can hardly wait to pass the story along to you. You see, in the first place, the Kellogg people choose only extra choice parts of sun-ripened wheat, so as to be sure you get every bit of that grand, flavorsome goodness. And then they carefully toast Pep till it comes out a lovely, tempting golden brown, and so wonderfully light and crisp you can hardly wait to pour on the milk and go to it. So be sure your mother gets you a package of Kellogg's Pep tomorrow. And remember...
Pep, Pep. Get in step. Make your cereal Kellogg's Pep.
And now, back to Superman. What is the meaning of Editor White's early morning call for Kent to report for work at once? And why did Mr. White specify that Kent pack clothes for sub-zero weather? There's a new and very exciting adventure beginning for Superman tomorrow, so don't fail to tune in. And be with us every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station, for the thrilling Adventures of Superman.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's Superman!
Follow the adventures of Superman every day, Monday through Friday, same time, same station. Superman is directed by George Lothar and is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal, invites you to rocket into the future with Corbett. Space Cadet. Stand by to raise shift. Blast off -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. As roaring rockets blast off the distant planets and far-flung stars, we take you to the age of the conquest of space with Corbett, Space Cadet. Three times in the past 14 years, a mysterious form of death striking from space has claimed the lives of solar guardsmen while on Comet Watch patrol in Sector 7. Now, as Captain Powers, the fourth victim of this strange malady, clings to life by a tenuous thread, Captain Strong and Dr. Joan Dale of Space Academy make a startling discovery.
There's no question about it, Joan. We can't brush off this medical report. Captain Powers shows every symptom of acute radiation sickness. Well, he's been exposed to intense gamma radiation.
But, Steve, now the question is, where did the radiation come from?
We've only one possible clue to that, Joan. The last thing Captain Powers saw before he collapsed was a strange asteroid that seemed to be giving off sparks.
Well, that could have been his imagination. He was a very sick man.
His little son, Jody, who was with him at the time, saw the same thing.
Yes, but Jody's just a child with a big imagination. How can you take his word for it?
That's true, Joan. And I would feel the same way you do, but when my boys on the Polaris took over the Comet Watch in Sector 7, they saw it too. No, there can't be any doubt about it, Joan. That strange asteroid that seems to give off sparks is an asteroid of death, and it must be destroyed.
Well, Roger, I just checked the whole ship. And she's all set to go as soon as the skipper comes round.
Yeah, well, I'm not set.
Hey, what are you burning your reactors about?
How does that dumb Venusian Astro rate getting out of this mission?
Don't ask me, Roger. I don't plot the course in this academy.
Astro falls behind in his grades. He gets a chance to dope off, while we have to go back to Sector 7 and look for an asteroid that gives off sparks. Happy 4th of July.
Who do you think you're kidding, Roger? You're just heating your tubes because you missed the kid, Jody Powers.
Me miss him? What do I look like, a nursemaid? That's all I need, a kid around me. Tagging after me all the time, being a pest. I had all I could take of him on the trip back from Comet Watch. Why, I'm glad they sent him home with his aunt.
Go on, Roger, I'm listening. Tell me more.
Oh, go blow your jets. So what if I do miss him? He was a cute little...
Hey, Philip, there's the airlock signal now. The skipper's coming aboard.
If I'd only had a chance to see Jody before he went away, I wouldn't mind so much. He probably thinks I forgot all about him.
All right, boys. Everything ready for blast-off?
Yes, Captain Strong. The ship's been checked from stem to stern.
Good. Dr. Dale is coming along. She's below now, setting up some special equipment. She'll fill in on the radar bridge while you take over on the power deck, Manning.
Aye, sir.
All right, now. Take your stations. We blast off immediately. Control deck to radar bridge. Check in.
Radar bridge, aye.
What's our position, Joan?
Crossing Mars orbit. Should reach destination shortly.
All right. Patch in your scanner down here and join us on the control deck.
Right, Steve.
Corbett, tell Manning to come up here, too.
All right, sir. Control deck to power deck.
Power deck, aye.
Cut space speed 1/4, Roger, and report up here.
It's about time. This chicken coop is driving me space happy.
Your friend Manning seems to have a chip on his shoulder.
Oh, not really, sir. He misses Jody Powers.
What? Well, that's a great combination. Roger Manning and little Jody.
Well, I can't understand it either, sir. Astro and I made a big fuss over Jody when we had him on Comet Watch, but he ignored us. Roger brushed him off, and the kid followed him around like a little puppy. They became great pals.
Radar bridge is secure, Steve.
Oh, good. Well, Joan, say, you look a little tired.
No, not tired. Just a little nervous.
Pat Manning reporting.
Stand easy, Manning. I just want to get everything organized. We're nearing our goal. I don't know whether we're going to find that meteor, but we're going to comb every inch of space in this orbit. I'm setting up a continuous heel and toe watch. Everyone will be in for long stretches of duty.
Sir, you really think that floating spark plug was the cause of Captain Powers' illness?
I'm positive, but we still have to prove it. Now, any questions?
No, sir.
All right, Dr. Dale and I will take the first watch. You two are relieved for the next 2 hours.
Aye, sir. Now, come on, Roger. Let's hit the sack. Oh, brother, that bunk looks awfully good to me. Call me at noon, Manning, and draw me a hot tub when I get up.
Don't worry, pal. According to the skipper, this tub will be plenty hot when we get near that asteroid.
You better sack in, Roger. You're going to be glued to that scanner for hours.
Who's tired? I think this is a wild goose chase anyway. That blasted meteor isn't hanging around just for us to come back and take a pot shot at it.
Well, the only thing we can do is try.
Hey, who was in my locker? I thought I told you to keep out of it, Tom.
What are you blasting about? I wasn't even near it.
No, then why's the door open? If you've messed things up, Hey, jumping Jupiter. Tom, come here, quick.
What is it, Roger?
Look, we've got a stowaway aboard.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by. Spaceman, how would you like to have a cutout collection showing pictures of all your favorite Space Cadets? Well, that collection is waiting for you right now down at the grocery store. On the back of every regular-sized package of Kellogg's Pep, you'll find an exciting picture cutout of one of your favorite Space Cadets. There's a picture of Astro, Tom Corbett, Roger Manning, and Dr. Joan Dale. You want to have the whole set, so don't waste any time starting. Get a regular-sized package of Kellogg's Pep just as soon as you can. See these exciting full-length pictures. They're not just drawings, you know. Each cutout is an actual picture, and each cutout shows one of the Space Cadets in his official Space Cadet uniform. Now, the pictures are swell for cutting out, framing, and hanging on the wall. Or you can paste them in a Space Cadet scrapbook. There are loads of things you can do with Space Cadet cutouts, so don't wait another day. Go to your favorite grocery store and get a regular-sized package of Kellogg's Pep. Right on the back of the package, you'll see the Space Cadet cutout. But remember now, to get your picture cutout, just be sure you get the build-up wheat cereal, Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep. Captain Strong, Dr. Dale, and the crew of the Polaris rocket through space in a desperate search for the strange asteroid that has caused the deaths of 3 Solar Guard officers. Tom and Roger discover a stowaway aboard ship. Now, on the control deck, Captain Strong watches Dr. Dale anxiously.
What's the matter, Joan? You've been sitting in that chair watching that scanner without saying a word. Now, what's on your mind?
A lot of things, Steve. Especially that asteroid. I just don't know what to make of it. If it really is the cause of the trouble, it must be radioactive.
Well, that's no problem. We'll find it and destroy it.
Well, it isn't as simple as all that, Steve. For one thing, it's dangerous. But that isn't what's bothering me. Just what is this asteroid, and what makes it so different?
Captain Strong.
Well, up so soon, Corbett?
Well, we couldn't sleep, sir. We have a little problem.
Well, one more problem shouldn't make any difference. What's yours?
Well, this one came up rather unexpectedly, sir.
Well, out with it.
Sir, we have a stowaway.
A stowaway?
Yes, sir. Bring him in, Roger.
Okay, Tom.
Here he is, sir.
Jody Powers.
Great galaxy, where did you find it?
In my locker, sir, fast asleep. He's been there all the time.
Well, that's just fine. Jody, you put us in a bad spot. Why did you do it?
I don't know, sir.
I just didn't want to go home. I didn't mean to cause any trouble.
Well, this sure throws a monkey wrench into our plans.
Why, sir? He's no trouble. I'll see to it that he keeps out of the way.
This isn't a pleasure cruise, Manning. We have work to do. Dangerous work, and we can't be worrying about a child. Well, I'll have to notify the Academy. They'll order us back for sure.
Can't we just forget about notifying the Academy, sir?
Absolutely not. We can't take the chance. Jody must be taken back.
See, the space warning.
Switch on the scanner, quick.
Pretty good-sized blitz, sir.
Corbett, pick this up on a magnascope.
Aye, sir. There it is, sir.
It isn't too clear. Can you get it sharper, Corbett?
Raise it to maximum magnipower.
Something. Saturn, look, sir.
Well, we can forget about taking Jody back now. He's in this with the rest of us.
Sparkling asteroid.
No doubt about it, sir. There's our space firecracker. Once you've seen it, you can't forget it. What a lucky break. That floating spark plug must have been out looking for it.
Well, now the question is, what are we going to do about Jody?
Oh, don't worry, sir. I'll take care of him.
We'll need every hand on deck. Take him into the bunk room and see that he stays there.
Yes, sir. Come on, Jody.
I hope you're not mad at me, Roger.
Of course not, Jody. I'm glad to have you aboard.
Well, Joan, what do you make of the asteroid?
I don't know, Steve. I've never seen anything like it. We'll have to move in much closer before I'll know what it's all about.
Jody, secure, sir. We promised to stay in there.
Thanks, Manning. All right, cadets. We'll get as close to the meteor as we can. Dr. Dale will watch for any increase of radioactivity in the ship so that you can prepare for it. But break out your spacesuits and have them ready.
Why, sir? Are we going outside the ship?
Who knows? We don't know what we're up against, so we'll be prepared for anything. But one more thing. I don't want any unnecessary chances. Just try and remember how Captain Powers looked when we found him. Now, take your station. Manning, below. Corbett, radar bridge.
Aye, sir.
Right, Captain.
All right, I'm ready, Steve. Move in as slowly as you can while I take my readings.
Right, Joan. Control deck to power deck. Check in.
Power deck, aye.
We're going to swing into a parallel orbit with the asteroid. Then 1/2 space speed until we're abreast of it.
Aye, sir.
Control deck to radar bridge. Check in.
Radar bridge high.
Set course for parallel orbit. And don't make it too tight.
Right, sir.
I don't understand it, Steve. These gauges have hardly moved. At this distance, there isn't enough radioactivity to hurt a flea.
You'll be in closer soon, Joan. You'll get all the radioactivity you're looking for then.
We're at asteroid level, sir. Ready to swing into parallel orbit. 10 degrees right, touch at 5.6 will do it.
Got it, Corbett. Manning, steering vane set. Give us a short blast.
Here it comes, sir. Firing short blast.
Good. All right, Corbett. Keep our orbits locked until further notice.
Hey, Captain Strong. I think this is all a false alarm. I don't feel a thing.
Maybe it's because you're so thick-skinned, Manning. Just follow orders and keep your opinions to yourself.
Aye, aye, sir.
Steve, I don't understand this. We're much closer now, and still all I get is just a slight increase in gamma ray activity. Nothing like what I expected to find.
What do you make of it?
Well, if this is all the radiation we're going to get from that asteroid, we'll have to find another reason for Captain Powers' illness.
Well, then we're right back where we started from. We may as well give up and head back to Earth.
Wait, Steve, there's another thing I don't understand. Those flashes on the surface, those sparks. I keep wondering about the composition of that asteroid.
Oh, well, there's only one way to find out. I'll go over and get a piece of it. That'll answer all your questions.
I hope it will, Steve, but I still can't help feeling there's something terribly wrong.
Come now, Joan. I'll hop over there in the jet boat and get your sample. You can take it back to your laboratory and examine it. Hello, Corbett.
Right, sir.
Take over on the control deck with Dr. Dale. I'm going over to the asteroid with Roger.
Right, sir.
Steve, promise me you'll be careful.
Oh, but, Joan, there's nothing to worry about. You said there wasn't enough radiation to harm a flea.
I know, but something about that asteroid rings a warning bell in my mind. I just don't know what it is, and I just can't help feeling there's danger out there. Terrible danger.
I've got the jet boat wide open, sir. We ought to reach the asteroid in 5 minutes.
And we'll circle it first. Make sure it's safe to land.
The thing looks harmless enough.
Yes, but I wish I knew what causes that sparkling effect. Take that, will you, Manning?
Aye, sir. Manning here.
Manning, this is Dr. Neal. Is everything all right?
Yes, everything's fine, ma'am. It's a little quiet out here. Not much traffic.
Oh, keep calling in regularly, please.
Let me talk to her, Manning. Hello, Joan.
Yes, Steve.
I stopped worrying. Everything's under control. Well, there's not a thing to worry about.
The jet
jet boat is circling the asteroid, Dr. Dale. Everything looks okay.
Call them again, Tom.
Oh, ma'am, we just spoke to them a couple of minutes ago.
I know, but I'll feel better if we maintain contact.
Yes, ma'am. Hello, jet boat. Come in.
What do you want now, Junior? Why'd you stop bothering us?
Just checking, Roger. Hey, can you clear up your transmission? We're getting a lot of noise.
What'd you say?
A lot of interference. Keep that channel open, Corbett. Maintain radio contact.
Roger. Can you hear me? Roger. Dr. Dale, I've lost them. It's impossible to get through that interference. Come in, Polaris. Tom, come in. No use, Captain Strong. We can't get through that static.
Well, it doesn't matter. We're almost ready to land on the asteroid anyway. Ships are heading 2 degrees down, and we'll hit the bullseye.
No use, ma'am. I can't get through to the jet boat. That hatch is too heavy.
And they're getting closer to the asteroid every second.
Can I come out now?
Jody.
Oh, you poor child. We forgot all about you.
It's awful lonesome in there. Can I stay here with you?
Of course you may, Jody.
Where's Roger? He said he'd be back this evening.
Jody, if you look through that viewport, you can see Roger and Captain Strong in that jet boat.
Right there, Jody. See them?
Jumping Jupiter.
What's the matter?
That's the same asteroid I was watching with Dad before he got sick.
How do you know, Jody?
So fuck. I told Dad they reminded me of a bunch of lightning bugs.
Hey, we never thought of questioning Jody before, and he was an eyewitness all the time. Jody, do you remember anything else?
Well, I went to bed and Dad kept watching it. He came in later and he was very excited. He told me I missed a wonderful show. There was a big explosion on the asteroid.
An explosion?
Yes. Then he went back to watch it some more. Next morning he was very sick.
An explosion that caused Captain Power's radiation sickness. That could only be an atomic... Yes, of course, that's the answer. Tom, we've got to get them back right away.
But why, Dr. Dale?
I haven't time to go into details. That asteroid is made of contraterrene matter.
Contraterrene? What's that?
Listen carefully and try to understand. All substance in space bears a positive electronic charge. Occasionally we need a free piece of matter which is negatively charged. That kind of substance is contraterene.
Great galaxy, I'm beginning to get it. If positive matter touches negative matter, an atomic explosion.
Yes, every spark you see out there is a minute particle of space debris hitting that contraterene asteroid. And if that jet boat ever touches the asteroid, Captain Strong and Roger will be blown to bits.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by. Spacemen, stand by for an important message from Tom Corbett. Before Tom started out on his latest mission, he made a special teleceiver recording of some things he wanted to tell all spacemen about Kellogg's Pep. So, take it away, message control.
Cadet Corbett speaking. I just want to tell you all how important it is to eat Kellogg's Pep. First of all, when you eat Kellogg's Pep for breakfast, you don't have to worry about getting enough vitamin D. There's a whole day's supply in every serving of Kellogg's Pep. And besides vitamin D, you get vitamin B1. And you know that's essential. And because Kellogg's Pep is whole wheat, you get many other necessary food values that help you build strong bones and muscles. When you put all that together, it means Pep gives you more build-up food values than any other wheat flake. And just to top it off, Pep rates #1 for flavor in mess halls all over the solar system, as well as right here at Space Academy. So take a tip from me, spacemen. Start your day with Kellogg's Pep.
Hear that, spacemen? And it's just like Tom Corbett says, for vitamin D and vitamin B1. For build-up food values and for that whole wheat and malt flavor, get Kellogg's Pep. And remember, there's an exciting Space Cadet picture cutout right on the back of every package of the build-up wheat cereal, Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep. As Captain Strong and Roger Manning near the mysterious sparkling asteroid in the jet boat, Dr. Dale, waiting aboard the Polaris, fearfully watches their approach, realizing that as they rocket toward it, they are hurtling towards their doom.
If that jet boat ever touches the asteroid, Captain Strong and Manning will be nothing but radioactive dust.
Well, they're almost there, Dr. Dale.
Tom, try reaching them again. You've got to contact them.
Manning. Captain Strong. Come in, Manning. Oh, it's no use, Dr. Dale. We're not getting through.
But we must.
There's only one chance, Dr. Dale. If I can intercept them with a Polaris.
What?
I'll try to guide the ship between them and the asteroid before they reach it.
Tom, can you do it? It'll be like threading a needle.
Well, here's where Corbett becomes a space seamstress. Fasten Jody down, Dr. Dale, and hold tight. We're closing in on the asteroid, sir. We're no more than 5 miles away.
At 10,000 feet, cut your relative speed down to 10 foot-seconds. From there, we'll break by eye.
Now that I've got a close look, I think we've been cruising in the wrong orbit. That asteroid looks pretty harmless to me.
I wouldn't be surprised. Have you been able to raise the Polaris?
No, sir. Too much static. Say, wait a minute, Skipper. Doesn't that look as if the Polaris is coming toward us?
That's just an illusion, Roger. Movement and distance are very deceptive in space. They have no reason to be moving toward us. Keep going.
Faster, Tom, faster. They're getting dangerously close to that asteroid.
We're at full space speed now, ma'am.
Tom, you'll never make it. There isn't room. We'll either hit the jet boat or the asteroid and we'll all be blown
We
up.
can't stop now, Dr. Dale. We've got to go through with it.
Stand by to cut the motor, Roger. We'll drift in. All right. Cut it.
Right, sir. Captain Strong, look. Look over there. The Polaris is bearing down on us.
What in blazes is Corbett trying to do? Run us down? Full power, Manning. Get out of their way. Swing around.
Okay, sir. Keep your fingers crossed.
Jupiter. I never thought I'd see the inside of the Polaris again.
Oh, Steve, it was so close, but Tom had to do it.
Yeah, but have you any idea what it looks like to have a mountain of steel bearing down on you?
We were very lucky, all of us.
And it was little Jody who gave us the clue that made me realize our asteroid of death was contra-terrene.
Well, where do we go from here, Dr. Dale? What do we do about it?
Now that we know the asteroid is made up of negative matter, it'll be a simple thing to destroy it. By pushing an equal amount of positive matter against it, will blow itself up.
Good idea, John.
You know, Roger, I never thought I'd be so glad to see that ugly face of yours again.
Yeah, it'll take more than a contra-terrene asteroid to get rid of me. And by the way, where'd you ever learn to pilot a spaceship?
Roger, are you all right?
Oh, sure thing, Jody. Nothing can KO your Uncle Roger.
Uncle? Oh, brother.
And there's the real hero. If anyone deserves the Spaceman Medal of Honor, it's our little stowaway.
He certainly does. Cadet Jody Powers, attention.
Yes, sir.
The crew of the Polaris salutes you.
Don't miss the next action-packed adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, on Tuesday, when the crew of the Polaris is given a 10-day leave, and the trip to Venus becomes a holiday of terror. Tune in, same time, same station on Tuesday for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Brought to you by Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal. Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, can also be seen on television and appears in the comic sections of many of America's leading newspapers. Look for it daily and in weekend editions. Featured in today's cast were Jan Merlin, Edward Bryce, Margaret Garland, and Sarah Fussell. Today's program was written by Jack Weinstock and Willie Gilbert, directed by Drex Hines. Jackson Begg speaking.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret. Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
And what a secret! In Kellogg's Raisin Bran, the tasty raisins are dipped in honeycomb. That means plumper, more tender raisins along with delicious golden crisp bran flakes. both fruit and cereal, all in one box. And no other raisin bran but Kellogg's gives you the tender goodness of raisins dipped in honeycomb. That's Kellogg's secret. So for your breakfast, make sure you get Kellogg's, because
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
This program has come to you from New
Escape. Escape tonight to occupied France and the underground.
The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations presents Escape, a new series of programs of which this, the second, is Operation Fleur De Lys, written and directed by William N. Robeson. Today, the 14th of July, the people of a free France celebrate the anniversary of their escape from the tyranny of the kings of Versailles. 158 years ago today, the people of Paris stormed the Bastille and let loose the French Revolution. The torch of liberty set afire that day never burned more fiercely than during the years when France was occupied by the Nazis. We escape tonight to occupied France, from which 3 years ago there was no escape.
You can call me Duke, but don't use my right name. I might want to go back to France someday. And there are a lot of people in the world that wouldn't understand that what I did was justified in the war. No, I don't have any regrets. Moral ones, that is. It isn't what I did to Renee that keeps me awake at nights. It's just the memory of her. There isn't much about her in my official report on Operation Fleur De Lys, but then it isn't customary to include descriptions of slim, sunburned legs and wide, deep brown eyes in a military document. And anyway, she was only an incident in the operation, even if she became somewhat more important to me. Operation Fleur De Lys began, like all the others, in the grubby, undistinguished house in London, which was the headquarters of the OSS, the Office of Strategic Services, otherwise known in various parts of the world as screwballs, cutthroats, spies, cloak and dagger boys, and American underground agents.
Gentlemen, Operation Fleur De Lys is planned to assist the advance of our forces once they've secured a beachhead in Normandy.
Is that where we're going in, Major?
That is one of the possibilities, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir.
You will jump over Grand Mont in northern France, here on the map. You have to set up roadblocks on these 3 state highways. Here, here, and here.
There is an underground contact near Grand Mont, sir?
Yes, Alcine Dutton. He's leader of the local Maquis. He's expecting him. In addition, you have to block these railroad lines entering and leaving Grand Mont. These operations are to coincide with the advance of our ground forces.
If they land in Normandy.
If they land in Normandy. You will emplane tonight at 2100 hours and will drop over your objective at, I should think, approximately 2230. Any questions?
No, I don't think so, sir.
Well, yes, sir, I have a question.
Yes, Lieutenant?
How many of us are going on this mission?
Just the 2 of you.
Just the 2 of us. And all we had to do was organize an underground army, disrupt the supply lines of a half a dozen Nazi divisions, and give support to the entire Allied invasion. Just the 2 of us. But that's the way the OSS worked. And nobody ordered Hill and me into it. We'd volunteered. I don't know why. Maybe for moments like this one, when you get a B-24 assigned to you as a personal taxi, and there's lots of room to sprawl around aft of the bomb bay.
How do you feel?
Fine.
Scared?
Of course I'm scared, aren't you?
Me? No, this is a walk. You forget how tough it was when we were at paratroop school at Benning.
Yeah, that was real rugged.
If the wind wasn't right, you might land in the Chattahoochee and get all wet.
And there was always the chance that you'd sprain your ankle coming down too hard.
And the sun was so bright on some of those daylight jumps.
Whereas we got none of those things to worry about here. A nice pitch-black night over France, no sun to blind us, no Chattahoochee River to fall into.
Hey, Lieutenant.
Yes, Sergeant.
Skipper wants to talk to you on the intercom.
Thanks.
Here, use my can.
Thank you. Duke here.
Lieutenant, I'm over your objective.
Any signal from the ground?
Yes, the one arranged. 4 dots, 2 dashes, green.
Very well.
You and Lieutenant Hill move into the bomb bay catapult. I'll open bomb bay doors in 30 seconds.
Roger.
Good luck.
Thanks. Sergeant, stand by to dump those supplies as soon as we're clear.
Yes, sir.
Come on, Ed. This, as someone has said, is it.
So soon? Just as I was settling down with good book.
Bomb bay doors are opening, sir.
Okay, Sergeant. All right, Ed, let's check your harness.
It's a frightful mess. I just can't seem to do a thing with it.
I know, but this is the last party you'll have to wear it on. Okay. How am I?
Well, don't look now, but your chute's showing.
Tuck it in. Let's get out on that catwalk.
Wow, what a refreshing breeze.
And all of France at our feet.
You see the signal?
That's what I'm looking for. There it is. Over to the left. Got it?
Got it.
Let's go! You kid. Sure you kid. It helps. But for those 10 seconds while you fall free, nothing helps. You hang on to the ripcord and you count off the seconds and you try not to count too fast. Your hand on that ripcord is the only certain thing in the world as you tumble head over teacups with a wind tearing sound from your ears. And there's only one thought, always the same thought, whether it's your first or your 50th jump. Will the chute open? It does. Yanking at your armpits, knocking the breath out of you, slowing you down, and you swing there like a rag doll trying to get your bearings. First, you make out the horizon. That's where the black becomes darker black, where the stars stop. And you wonder about Ed, but you can't risk calling out. And now that you're located where the stars aren't, you look for the signal light, and there it is, slightly to the left. So you tug at your shroud lines, spilling a little air to guide you toward it. And it's coming toward you awfully fast. And you hope this particular French patriot has picked out a field free of trees and church steeples. And then you try to remember all the things they taught you about hitting the ground and rolling with the wind and collapsing your chute. Because it's always like this. You always feel like you've never hit the silk before. And then you're down, and you roll just right, and you collapse your chute, and it's second nature to you after all. And then you hear footsteps running towards you. And you remember another important instruction. You whip out your automatic, and you hope your French is good enough to get you by. Qui va? Who is it?
Alcine here.
Fleur.
De Lys.
Okay, Alcine, come on.
At last you've arrived, Lieutenant.
So it seems.
You have no idea how long we've wished for this moment.
Hold it. That's my partner. Come on. Hey, Ed. Ed.
Over here, Duke.
You okay?
My empennage is slightly damaged, otherwise okay.
This is Alcine, our contact. Alcine, Lieutenant Hill.
Hello, Alcine.
Lieutenant, it is a great pleasure to make your acquaintance. And on behalf of my countrymen...
Yeah, well, let's get these chutes buried and blow this place. Where's your transportation, Alcine?
We haven't any.
What?
Where's the safe house?
You might be able to stay at my aunt's. I don't think she'd talk.
You don't think, aren't you sure?
Oh, yes, I'm supremely confident that
Where are the Germans?
They're everywhere. And that is why I'm so glad you're here. Now we can fight again. With your help, we will kill many Boche.
Wait a minute. How many are there in your Maquis?
Myself and 2 others.
Just 3 of you?
Oh, my aching back.
But now that the Americans are here, we can do anything.
Oh, why don't they get these things straight in London? How can we block roads with a 3-man Maquis?
3 men and an aunt who perhaps will not talk.
Well, let's get cracking.
Duke, you're not going through with this mad venture, are you?
What would you suggest?
Well, as for me, I'm all for taking the next plane back to London.
Another piece of bread, Lieutenant.
No, thank you, ma'am.
This bone chicken is delicious. How do you call it?
K-ration.
Supreme. We've had nothing like it since the Boche came.
Yeah, well, you get used to it.
And cigarettes, Tante Marie. Cigarettes made of real tobacco. You Americans have everything.
Madame, Alcine, you are kind, you are hospitable, but the comforts of K-ration will not block roads. We need men. We must form a Maquis.
But we have a Maquis.
Look, Alcine, there are 3 of you and 2 of us. Sure, we've got guns and we've got ammunition and supply chutes somewhere out in that field where we landed. We've got arms for 50 men. But if we had those men, we still couldn't go to war against the German division.
And you said yourself there's at least a division garrisoned in Grammont.
What must we do?
First, we must organize a Maquis. We need men. Can you get them?
I can go into the village and talk to my friends.
You should have done that a long time ago.
Faustine, that would be most unwise.
Why?
Didn't you know? Faustine is a patriot. He's a deserter from the Vichy army, so he's wanted by the Gestapo.
Oh, great. And there's a Gestapo headquarters in Grammont, of course.
Of course. Faustine is not one to run from danger.
Quite the contrary.
I can get Renee to help.
Who's Renee?
Alcine's sweetheart, a lovely girl from Paris. Poor thing, she had to come down to the country because her house was bombed out.
Let's leave her out of this.
But, Lieutenant, she would be most happy to help.
Alcine, you got a lot to learn about guerrilla warfare. You might as well study your first lesson right now. It's short and to the point. No dames. Well, the next day, we collected the supplies, which had been dropped with us, and we set up a camp deep in the woods. Hill and I were loaded with French money, so we were able to buy food from the friendly farmers. Maybe it was the food as much as patriotism that brought us recruits. Anyway, after a week, we had nearly 30 men. Our marquee wasn't big enough for the job we had to do, but it was growing in the right direction. And then one night as I was winding up a report to London...
Oh? What do they say?
What do they ever say? Message acknowledged. Carry on.
Well, what about new batteries for the radio? What about extra ammunition for the Buck Rogers guns? When are they going to get another drop to us?
Why don't you ask them?
Yeah, I know.
They do the best they can, I guess. After all, we're not the only Boy Scouts in this jamboree.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Duke.
Yeah?
There goes Alcine again, off toward the road.
What the... Hey, Alcine!
Yes?
Come here a minute.
Yes, Lieutenant.
Where are you going?
I was just taking a stroll.
You on night guard?
Not tonight.
You weren't on night guard last night, were you?
No, Lieutenant.
Or the night before?
No, sir.
But you weren't in camp all night, were you?
No, sir.
What's the matter? Don't you like the camp? Rather sleep at your aunt's? Is it too rugged out here for you?
No, sir.
Then where were you?
In the village.
You know the orders. No one is to go into the village.
Yes, Lieutenant, but I only go in at night.
That makes no difference.
But it does. You see, Lieutenant, I'm so in love.
Oh, great.
The girl from Paris?
Yes. You should see her, Lieutenant. She's the most beautiful, the most charming,
Don't you know you're endangering the whole marquee by disobeying my orders?
Oh, no, sir. There's no danger with Renee. She hates the bush. Why, she wants to join us.
You've told her about us?
Oh, yes, sir.
Are you out of your mind? How do you know she's all right?
I just know that's all. She's the most wonderful person in the world. She's a real patriot.
I told you, rule number 1 is no dames.
Yes, but Renee is different.
Yeah. Well, you better marry her before you bring her around here, or you'll have to share her with the rest of these wolves.
Lieutenant, do I understand you?
Forget it, Elsie. It's just an American figure of speech.
May I tell Renee she can join us?
Well, not quite yet. Later, maybe.
Yes, Lieutenant. Is that all?
Yeah, that's all.
If you got to take it, Alcine, take it easy.
I do not understand.
Just another American idiom, Elsie. Good night.
Good night, sir.
Hey, Duke. You going to let him get away with that?
Well, what are we going to do?
Slap him into the guardhouse for 30 days.
Only this isn't the American Army. We haven't any guardhouse.
Yeah, it stinks from a security standpoint.
I know. If we try to keep these boys from sneaking off home every now and then, we're not going to have any marquee.
These French. An immoral race.
I don't know about that. Remember Phoenix City, Alabama?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
There wasn't anything we could do. If we'd ordered Alcine to stay in camp, he'd have sneaked off anyway. He had that dreamy, faraway look that's baffled parents, teachers, and first lieutenants since the beginning of time. I didn't worry too much about it because our marquee was growing, and Ed Hill and I were breaking our backs pushing those French kids through an ersatz basic in 3 weeks. Headquarters in London didn't tell us much, but we did know from the BBC that the boys had landed at Omaha Beach, and it wouldn't be long before they'd be needing our roadblocks. And then one morning, about D+4, I think it was, I was out in the woods running a squad through concealment drill. No. Hit the dirt. Don't wait or you're dead. When you see the signal, hit the dirt right now.
Pardon me, Lieutenant.
Huh? Oh, Elsie. Where have you been all night as though I didn't know?
Lieutenant, I've got to talk to you.
Okay, I'll be through here in a half hour or so.
Got to talk to you now.
Huh? All right, Elsie. Okay, boys, take 5. Come along, Elsie. What's on your mind?
Lieutenant, my family's been killed.
Oh, no.
Yes, by the Gestapo. They set fire to the house. My mother, my father, my 2 sisters. They ran out. The Gestapo shot them.
You're sure of this?
Yes, I heard it this morning from a neighbor who saw it happen.
You poor kid.
When can we attack, Lieutenant? When can we stop this endless training and fight the bush? No, I want only to kill and kill and kill until I pay them back for my father, my mother, my 2 sisters.
Yeah, I know. You'll get your chance, Elsie, but not yet. We gotta wait. We're not ready yet.
I'm ready. Before I wanted to fight the bush for my country. Now I want to kill him again and again. For them.
I know, but you gotta be patient.
It should happen to me now. Only last night Renee said she'd marry me, come to live here with me in the camp. I was so happy. And this morning I learned this news.
When did you hear from your mother last?
Not for a month since we began to work, but I've written her every week.
You have? Who mailed the letters?
Renee mailed them for me. She's so kind and thoughtful. She offered to mail letters home for the other boys, too.
Oh, that was nice of her. Did they take advantage of her offer?
A couple of them.
Who?
Paul and Jean. I told them about it. They wrote their families.
And Renee mailed the letters, huh?
Yeah, she's a wonderful person, Lieutenant. You're going to love her.
Yeah, I think I am.
She's all I've got in the world now.
2 and 2 make 4 in occupied France, just the same as anywhere else. And sometimes it's just as hard to prove. But one thing was sure. Now I wanted to meet Renee in the worst way. But I had to postpone the pleasure because early that afternoon one of the outposts broke into camp out of breath.
Yeah?
Yes, Paul.
The Boche. They're coming down the road through the forest.
How many?
I did not stop to count them. Several truckloads, to be sure.
Pass the word to Lieutenant Hill. Ask him to bring his detail into camp on the double.
Yes, Lieutenant.
Alcine.
Yes, sir?
Take 2 men and go down by the road and see what they're up to.
Yes, sir.
Just reconnoiter. Don't fire at them.
But this is my chance for revenge.
Listen to me. Don't fire at them. That's a command.
Yes, sir.
They may not be after us at all. Now get going.
Immediately, Lieutenant.
What's the order of the day, Duke? Lance Graham?
Yeah, it looks like it. All your men here?
Present and accounted for.
All right, boys, now gather around, will you, and get this. There's a convoy of Germans coming down the forest road. Now, wait a minute. We're not going to fight them. You know what our job is, roadblocks. We got tanks, artillery, and airplanes that'll be along soon to do the killing. Now, look, our security's been pretty good. And those Krauts may be on a routine patrol. The chances are they don't even know we're here.
They do now. Listen.
Yeah. Well, that does it. All right, you men got your weapons?
Yes, sir.
Good. Well, you know the procedure. Get lost. Before you leave the forest, bury your weapons, ammunition, and equipment. Rendezvous at the home of Alcine's aunt at 2200 hours tonight. Good luck. Come on, Ed, let's scram.
Well, he who doesn't fight and runs away lives to fight another day.
Or something like that.
Who tipped them off?
I'm not sure, but I got a pretty good idea.
Who's down there at the road?
Alcine. He's fighting a private war, the poor jerk. The basic rule of 3 in guerrilla warfare is surprise, kill, vanish. However, when you're surprised, the only rule is vanish. And we did. There were about 50 Germans and a half a dozen dogs to track our scent. They spent the day thrashing through the woods, firing into the underbrush, and finding nothing. It was a classic withdrawal, and Hill and I were proud of our little army, with the exception of Alcine, its self-appointed hero. When we arrived at his aunt's house that night for the rendezvous, a half a dozen of the boys were already there.
Who is it?
Fleur.
De Lys. Lieutenant, come in.
Good evening, madame.
Alcine is already here. I'm so proud of him.
Lieutenant, I was just telling Tante Marie and the boys it was magnificent. I got 2 of them. I killed 2 Boche.
Your orders were not to shoot.
But, Lieutenant, what would you?
What happened to the other boys who were with you?
Jean was wounded and captured. Antoine became frightened and ran away.
That blows the Marquis. They'll get the full particulars from Jean.
They haven't got him already.
I'm sorry, Lieutenant, but...
Quiet. Answer it, madame.
Who is it?
Look.
De Lys.
Open it.
Good evening, madame.
Come in, boys.
Run into any trouble, boys?
As you see, we are here.
Yeah.
Not for long. Lieutenant,
yes,
Raoul
Paul.
and I wish to withdraw from the Marquis.
Quit? Why?
The risk is too great.
You afraid?
For myself, no. But after what happened to John.
He was wounded and captured. We all take that risk.
Yes, but last night the Gestapo got Jean's family. Like they did Alcine's. Stood them up in front of their house and shot them. Who knows who'll be next? My mother, Raoul's sister, Alcine's aunt. I wish to withdraw.
So do I. All right, now, wait a minute. I don't blame you for being worried about your families. But whose families do you think the British and American armies up in Normandy are fighting to liberate? Their own? No, yours. Now, this thing isn't as bad as it looks. There's been a leak in our security. Somebody's been putting a finger on us, so we lay low until the leak's plugged.
But the Germans are everywhere. Spies, perhaps, too, are everywhere.
I think I know who's responsible for these murders. I'll make a deal with you. Give me a couple of days to work it out. We'll issue you boys some money, and all you've got to do is to get lost until Saturday night, and then meet me back here. If I haven't patched up our security by then, you can all quit the Marquis and become collaborators.
Oh, it is not that, Lieutenant.
No one wishes to collaborate.
But one must think of one's family.
Okay. Ed.
Yeah, dude.
Give the boys 1,000 francs apiece.
Right. Come and get it, boy.
Come on.
Alcine.
Yes, my lieutenant?
I'm going to have a little time on my hands for the next couple of days. You think you could arrange to introduce me to your girlfriend?
Oh, but of course, Lieutenant.
Maybe, if she's okay, like you say, we can let her sign up. Huh?
I am desolated with happiness, Lieutenant.
One thing. None of that lieutenant business around her until I make sure she's all right.
Very well.
You think my French is good enough to pass as a native?
But of course, Lieutenant.
All right, then pass me off as a friend of yours. Let's see, I'll need a name. Let's call me Jacques Dufresne.
Jacques Dufresne. Good, I will make the arrangements immediately.
I thought you'd like an excuse to get into town tonight. The next afternoon, Alcine brought the girl out to the woods near his aunt's house. I stood behind a tree to watch and make sure they weren't being followed. She was all right. Tall, long, sunburned legs, her hair caught in a blue ribbon like a little girl's. I let them walk by, and then I stepped from behind my tree.
Oh, there you are, Jacques.
Hello, Alcine.
René, this is my good friend Jacques Dufresne. He's from Paris, too. Jacques, this is René de Cibourg.
Glad to meet you, mademoiselle.
And I'm honored to meet you, monsieur. Where do you live in Paris?
Near the Porte du Lilas. But my home is no longer there. It was bombed out.
Alas, so was mine.
My family remain with friends, but I've come out into the country to fight with the resistance.
Jacques has much influence with the commander of our Marquis.
Oh, I hope you will be able to persuade him to let me join you, monsieur.
I shall do what I can.
It would be a privilege and an honor to work with a patriot like you.
See, Jacques, I told you René was all right.
You didn't tell me the half of it. Mademoiselle, you understand that we must be cautious. There are questions I must ask of a confidential nature.
Why don't we meet again? Alone.
Why not?
Say, tonight? I have a little car.
But...
We might take a drive.
Fine.
But, René, you promised me that...
I can see you some other time, ma chère. Remember, France comes first.
We just drove that night. She was wearing a white ribbon in her hair and a loose white dress and no stockings. We just drove around in her little Citroën with the top down and the wind blowing her hair like a girl in a magazine ad. And then we came back about midnight and parked at the bridge. I felt like I was back in high school in Illinois.
Look at those stars.
Yeah.
So many of them. So close you can almost reach out and touch them.
Yeah.
I had them all once, Jacques. I reached out and gathered them all in my arms once.
Yeah?
I want you to know all about me, Jacques.
I want to.
Don't think it's wrong of me. But I've been in love.
There's nothing wrong in being in love.
He was a soldier.
Most everybody is these days.
A German soldier.
Oh.
Don't you think that love is bigger than war or hate or anything?
Yeah, I guess so.
He's dead now.
That's good. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I'm not sorry he's dead.
Jacques, I'm so confused. I want to understand things. I want to be intelligent about things. But everything gets so mixed up. Like now.
Like now?
Yes. Jacques, I've never been so happy as I am tonight.
Not even with the German?
Not even with him. Why does it have to end? Why do those blessed stars have to go out one by one to make way for another day of war? Why can't we stop time, you and I, and gather all the stars together, just for us?
I don't know, baby. It's never been done before. But we can try.
Sure, Charles.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night?
Same time, same place. Forever, if you say the word.
Forever.
Sure, why not? Who knows how long forever is in this crazy world? Why not have it together? Why not get married?
Why not, my most beloved?
See you tomorrow night.
I'll only be half alive until then. Shirley, if you want to write to your family in Paris, give me the letter tomorrow night, and I'll mail it for you.
No.
All right, drop that rock and grab a sock. Rise and shine, lover boy. I brought you a cup of chocolate. Figured you want breakfast in bed this morning.
Oh, thanks.
How'd you make out last night?
Okay.
Details. Let's have the details.
Nothing much to report. We drove, and then we parked for a while and talked.
Did she give anything away?
No information. She's a funny kid. Her dialogue's as corny as a bobby soxer. She knows she's pretty, so she wants to be admired for her mind. But I'm sure she's our Matahari.
How come?
She offered to mail a letter to my family.
That's consistent.
I asked her to marry me.
What?
She didn't believe me, but she pretended like she did. Oh, I don't know why she's doing what she's doing. Thrills, maybe.
French juvenile delinquent.
Maybe. Tonight's the night.
The night you get married?
No, the night we get her. The boys are meeting us here at midnight, you know.
What's the plan?
Well, I'll take another ride with her. And about midnight, we'll be back and parked by the bridge. You'll be there out of sight. I'll have some brandy along, and I'll slug her drink with a capture pill. When she's passed out, I'll give you the come on, and you join me. Here, baby, have another drink, huh?
I shouldn't, Jack. Brandy always makes me sleepy.
What of it? This is a celebration of our engagement.
Oh, kiss me, Jack. Again and again.
Sure.
Jack, the stars are nearer. Nearer than they've ever been.
Nearer than you think, baby.
I love you, Jack. I do love you. Kiss me again. Do it again. And again.
Renee. Baby. Are you asleep? You collaborationist pig, can you hear me? Okay, Ed.
Is she out?
Like a red light in an air raid. Here's her purse. Start through it while I untangle myself.
Now, take a look at this.
What is it?
A letter from Gestapo headquarters confirming receipt of 3 addresses.
Let me see that. Well, that one's Elson's family, and that one's Jean's.
And here's a Gestapo identification card.
Flash your light over there. Look at her.
What a dish.
Look at that kisser. She's responsible for the death of 6 people whose only crime was being born French. She'd have wrecked our marquis, snafu'd our mission, and turned me over to the Gestapo with her lipstick still on my collar. That gorgeous hunk of double cross. Well, we got the proof. Let's get on with it.
Okay. I guess you'd rather I...
No, this is my job.
Gee, she's gorgeous.
Yeah. So long, honey. Thanks.
She ain't so gorgeous now.
Release that handbrake. Got it. Come on, shove. Not yet. Keep that steering wheel straight. The river's deepest right at the center of the bridge. Yeah. Now, hard right on the wheel. You know something, Ed?
Huh?
I think she finally did gather that armful of stars. Sure, the operation was successful. When the time came, our roadblocks tied up 3 German divisions while Patton rolled on to the east. But I still lie awake at night thinking I should have married that dame. Yeah, the operation was successful, but the patient died.
Operation Fleur De Lys was written, directed, and produced by William N. Robeson with Jack Webb as Duke, Elliot Lewis as Hill, Peggy Weber as Renee, and Harry Bartell as Alcine. Operation Fleur De Lys was based on an incident from the files of the OSS, recorded in Sub Rosa by Stuart Alsop and Thomas Braden. The special musical score was conceived and conducted by Cy Pure. Escape is presented by CBS and its affiliated stations each week at this time. Next week, we invite you to escape with F. Scott Fitzgerald in his unforgettable story, The Diamond as Big as the Ritz. And so, good night until next week, when again it will be time to escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Wheat Checks, Rice Checks, and Good Hot Roastin' present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed adventure, Buzz and Happy are in a surface car driving through the Venus Mountains toward the Space Patrol testing grounds. As Happy carefully guides the car over the dangerous road, they're unaware that a container of sleeping gas hidden in the car is expelling a dangerous vapor.
Wow, I've seen these cliffs from the air, but I never realized how high they really are.
Mm-hmm. From this road, it's a 1,000-foot drop to the bottom of the gorge.
I wonder why I'm so drowsy.
I'm a little drowsy, too.
Oh. Hey, Commander, there's a patch of fog or something ahead of us. It's a turn of the fog.
Happy, look out. We're heading for the edge.
Huh?
Hey, we're going over the cliff.
We'll return in just a moment with today's Space Patrol adventure, The Immortal Brain. Gang, it kept coming closer and closer, faster and faster. And now it's here. Yes, the day is here, right smack on top of us. The last day we can offer you the Space Patrol Projectoscope. The Projectoscope, the 6-inch rocket that flashes on and off like a real signal light. The Projectoscope, that blue and yellow plastic rocket that throws a steady beam of light like a real flashlight. The Projectoscope, the sleek, streamlined rocket that flashes 24 different pictures on the wall, one at a time. Pictures of Buzz, Corey, and Cadet Happy in 4 exciting Space Patrol adventures. Fun galore. But, gang, don't wait. This is the last time we can offer you the Projectoscope. Just buy a box of Rice Checks or Wheat Checks. Then, with your name and address, send 35 cents in coin and a Rice Checks or Wheat Checks box top to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. This offer good only in the USA and may be withdrawn at any time. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, The Immortal Brain. Long before the era of space travel, electronic computers proved their worth. With lightning speed, they foretold the path of rockets and predicted the weather. In the 30th century, these amazing electronic brains supply information and guidance for government leaders and all major industries. The giant government computer on Terra helps keep the economy of the United Planets in balance. Although most privately owned electronic brains proceed in an honest manner to supply special information to business firms, one famous computer in Venus City, known as Future Incorporated, is operated mostly for the benefit of unethical investors by Anton McDermott. Right now, McDermott is in his office talking to a new client, Brandon Fergus.
Oh, you've finally come around to subscribing to our service, Mr. Fergus.
Well, I don't see how I can afford not to, Mr. McDermott. My competitors have been beating me at every turn. And at this rate, I'll be broke in 6 months.
5 months.
What's that?
Our computer gives you 5 months. Of course, now that you're using the information given you by Future Incorporated, that prediction will be revised. More optimistically, I'm certain.
Well, I certainly hope so. You charge enough for your predictions.
You'll find it pays, Mr. Fergus. Your competitors have.
Yes, I know. I thought I was getting all the information I needed from this government computer.
Well, that gives you the overall trends in industry and business. But we give you specific predictions for your own particular interests. However, the government computer is excellent for the overall operations of the Space Patrol, for example.
Space Patrol?
You've had an unpleasant experience with the Space Patrol, Mr. Fergus.
Well, I had a nice, profitable arrangement on Jupiter last year. Commander Corey broke it up. He said it was illegal.
Was it?
Perhaps. But Corey just better not trust me again, that's all. You're not interested in my trouble. Well, let me give you a check for the first 3 months.
Fine, Mr. Fergus. What's that you've got there? One of those new check projectors?
Yes. It's shaped like a regular pen. See?
You set the figures by turning those small rings on the shaft. I see.
Then when you press the button on the end, the numbers and my signature are projected onto this specially sensitized check paper. Like this.
Say, that's quite a gadget. May I look at it?
Of course. Here's your check.
Well, thank you. I'm sure this will be a profitable association for both of us.
Oh, I hope so. You must have inherited your father's brains.
Mr. Fergus, I consider that a very high compliment.
Well, I mean it. Well, I'll be running along now, Mr. McDermott.
All right, Mr. Fergus. You'll be getting your first report on Future Incorporated in about 3 days.
Mr. McDermott, you understand now that I don't want to get mixed up in anything illegal.
Of course not, Mr. Fergus. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Mr. McDermott, are you free now?
Oh, yes, Gilson. Fergus just left, and he signed up.
Good.
I was amused at something he said. He told me I must have inherited my father's brain. If he only knew how close he came to the literal truth.
You mean your father's brainograph records?
Yes, all his ideas on economics, all his vast knowledge scanned by brainograph and recorded on tape. No wonder we've got the best computer service in the solar system. Our computer can draw upon my father's memories and intelligence, just as though he were alive.
Now, that's what I wanted to talk to you about, Mr. McDermott. Something's gone wrong.
What do you mean?
You know that problem you asked me to feed into the computer regarding the probable government plans for a new city on Saturn?
Yes, I've already bought most of the land in that area. Well, what's the trouble?
I fed in some new data from the government, and our computer keeps teletyping nonsense. The same meaningless phrase over and over.
What is it?
Well, here's the tape from the computer, sir. Cancel GOC.
Cancel government operations computer?
Machine sort of hesitates and makes a few false starts. Then out come these letters every time. It doesn't make sense. Why would the computer tell us to cancel out a whole source of information? Its main source, the government operations computer.
Wait. The machine only has a vocabulary that we've built into it. Maybe it's trying to tell us something it hasn't words for and is using the nearest substitute. Cancel might mean more than just eliminate data. It might mean destroy. Literally destroy.
Oh, but that's fantastic.
Yes, of course. That's it. The machine is trying to tell us that the government computer is recommending a change of plans about the location of the new city on Saturn.
But that would ruin us.
Of course. Our computer's answer is to destroy the government computer.
Well, that's out of the question, of course. What's this thing on the desk?
Oh, that's Fergus's gadget, a check projector. He must have left it. Gilson, you've got to go to Terra and destroy that computer. Immediately.
But, Mr. McDermott...
There's no other way out. And I know how it can be done.
Straight down this aisle, Happy, behind relay panel number 68B. That's where the trouble started.
Yes. Gee, this computer's a complicated thing.
It'll take weeks to repair the damage, even if we put every available technician on the job. Here. See that small black metal case?
This one? What does it do?
It's not a part of the computer, Happy. It was put here deep inside the control unit wiring to sabotage the computer.
That little box blew out this whole big machine?
Yes.
Well, who would want to do a thing like that? What would they gain?
It's hard to see how anyone could profit from it. This is the work of an extremely irrational and vicious mind.
Oh, you mean somebody really blew his rocket?
Mm-hmm. And paralyzed the largest, most important electronic brain in the solar system. Not only paralyzed it, but burned out memory banks, relays, and indicating instruments.
Somebody must have a grudge against everybody.
He succeeded in slowing down a lot of important projects. The economy of the whole United Planets will be thrown out of balance. You've got to find another computer. There's only one big enough to handle the job.
Which one is that, sir?
Future Incorporated in Venus City. It's not time to investigate the company, but they have an amazing record for correct predictions. It's run by Anton McDermott.
McDermott? That name sounds familiar.
Anton is the son of the late Samuel McDermott, the famous economist and historian.
Oh, were you a friend of his?
Yes. Never knew his son, Anton, very well, but Samuel McDermott and I were working on an idea together.
What was the idea, sir?
Well, you know it's possible to make a brainograph recording of a person's thoughts and memories.
Yes, sir.
I persuaded Mr. McDermott that he should leave such a record behind. It'd be much quicker than writing books. In the case of a genius like McDermott, it would preserve thousands of ideas that would otherwise be lost.
Mm-hmm.
Our plan was to devise some way to transfer these ideas and facts to the memory bank of a computer. In that way, we could benefit from a brilliant man's thinking ability, even after he passed away. At least we thought we could preserve part of it.
Gee.
McDermott told me he'd found a solution, but I was called away on a mission about then. When I returned, it was too late.
Well, hadn't he written it down?
No. At least no mention of it was ever discovered in his papers after his death. His son, Anton, turned all of his father's notes over to the government.
It's sure too bad he couldn't have lived a little while longer.
Eventually, someone will solve the problem. But right now, we've got one of our own. We'll blast off for Venus City and see if young McDermott will let the government use it.
Commander, anything I can do for a friend of my father will be a pleasure.
I appreciate that, Mr. McDermott. But you're doing a public service, not just a personal favor for me.
Do you have any idea what motive was behind this sabotage of the government?
Not the slightest. We haven't any clue as to who wrecked the Terra machine, except that he obviously knows quite a bit about computers.
I certainly hope you catch the vandal, Commander.
We will. McDermott, you'll receive some tape-recorded data for your computer's memory banks in a few hours. Then you can go to work on our Saturn problem.
Excellent. Will you be going back to Terra right away?
First, I've got to visit the Space Patrol testing grounds outside Venus City. Cadet Happy and I will drive over in the morning.
I don't envy you the trip. I understand it's a nerve-wracking ride over that winding mountain road.
Yeah, it would be easier to take an atmosphere ship, but as long as we have to be here on Venus another day, I thought I'd go the slow way and enjoy the scenery.
Well, then I'll see you again before you blast off for Terra.
Yes. Thanks a lot, Mr. McDermott.
Don't mention it.
Mr. McDermott.
Yes, Gilson, what is it?
Something really is wrong with the computer this time. I think we overloaded it.
What?
Well, pardon my saying so. I don't think we should circuit in your father's memory banks. I think they're confusing the other circuits.
How could they?
Well, by introducing irrelevant data. 4 times it came through. Canceled CICSP. There's no significance to those letters as far as the machine's concerned. It's gibberish.
It's very improbable they would have produced the same letters 4 times in a row unless it did have some meaning.
CICSP. What meaning could it possibly have, sir?
Wait a minute. Let's try grouping the letters differently instead of running them all together. CICSP. SP. Space Patrol, perhaps.
Oh, but what about the other letters? CIC.
CIC. Commander-in-Chief.
Cancel Commander-in-Chief, Space Patrol.
Remember, cancel is also the computer's word for destroy. It means we're to destroy Commander Corey.
It's uncanny. How does the machine know Corey?
It doesn't. It deals with relationships of ideas. And remember, my father knew Corey. The idea of Corey is in my father's memory bank.
But they were friends. Why would your father want Corey destroyed?
Gilson, think a minute. That computer doesn't want anything. It's solving a problem. The problem's a cold, logical, mathematical problem. My father wouldn't have hesitated to wipe out Corey's chessmen in a friendly game of chess. Now the problem is how to preserve Future Incorporated.
The answer is destroy Corey.
Right.
But, Mr. McDermott, we can't get rid of Corey.
Yes, we can. Tomorrow morning, Corey and that cadet are going to drive a surface car over the mountains to the Space Patrol testing grounds. Won't be hard to find out what car they're taking. We can conceal a cylinder of sleeping gas under the seat.
Sleep gas?
Yes. Imagine what will happen on that mountain road if they get drowsy at the wheel.
But the Space Patrol's sure to find the wrecked car. And even if it's smashed to pieces, the sleep gas cylinder's likely to be found.
Yes, you're right. And they'd know it wasn't an accident. Then we've got to make the Space Patrol suspect somebody else. Wait, I've got it.
What?
This gadget Fergus left here, his check projector. And Fergus has a grudge against Corey. That's our answer, Gilson. If they find Corey, they'll blame Fergus. Come on.
Hey, Commander, this is sure terrific scenery. I didn't realize these mountains near Venus City were so big.
Well, we've always flown over them before. It takes a view from a surface car to make you really appreciate them.
Well, the engineers who built this road sure did a great job.
Yeah, they certainly did.
Wow. And that would be some drop, especially along here.
Mm-hmm. Over 1,000 feet.
Oh, excuse me, sir. That sleep I had last night, I wonder why I'm so drowsy.
Want to stop and let me drive a while, Hep?
No, sir. It's only a few more miles to testing grounds. How you make it all right?
Well, I'm a little drowsy myself.
Commander, there's a patch of fog on the highway up at the next turn.
Fog? I don't see. Yes, I do.
It's even foggy inside the car.
Happy, look out. We're heading for the edge.
Huh? We're going over the cliff.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. Say, gang, talk about a putt-putt. Just listen to this jet cycle. Yes, it's just a putt-putt, because all it has in it is ordinary fuel. But pour in some super fuel, and you get a super start, like this. Wow, that jet cycle is supercharged now. Yep, supercharging takes just one thing, super fuel. Now, to really get going, you have to get supercharged, too. And, gang, here's Buzz Corey's way of doing it. He eats the super cereals, Rice Chex and Wheat Chex. Good? Why, man, they're so good, you grab the biggest bowl you can find, you shake in Chex, pour on milk, sprinkle on sugar, and that's it. You've got a bowl of the swellest tasting cereal in the universe. So try Rice Chex or Wheat Chex today. And remember, inside of every package, there's a mysterious magic space picture. The super cereals that help to supercharge you, Rice Chex, Wheat Chex. And now, back to today's Space Patrol adventure, the Immortal Brain. Anson McDermott has secretly perfected a means of using the brainograph tape recordings of his late father's vast knowledge in his electronic calculating machine. When the machine revealed Commander Corey was an obstacle to the success of McDermott's dishonest schemes, the inventor determined to destroy the commander and throw suspicion on one of McDermott's own clients, Brandon Fergus. Knowing Buzz and Happy were to travel from Venus City to the Space Patrol testing grounds in a surface car, McDermott concealed a sleeping gas cylinder in the car, together with a check projector belonging to Fergus. Now, on a dangerous curve in the Venus Mountains, Happy has browsed at the wheel and is heading for a 1,000-foot drop into the gorge below.
You can't stop, sir. We're going over. Let go of the wheel, Hap. I'll take it.
We didn't go over.
The rear wheel's caught on the boulder, but hanging right over the edge.
How are we going to get out of the car?
Climb into the back and out the rear doors.
All right, sir. Wow, look down there.
Had a close call, all right. Move carefully now. I don't know how long this car's going to hold.
Okay, sir. Hey.
What's the matter?
Look what's in the back part of the car. A cylinder. Sleeping gas.
What?
Here it is, sir. Must have been hidden back there and got bounced out when we hit the boulder.
It's got a time release on it. That's why we were getting drowsy. I shut off the valve.
And what's this?
What?
On the floor back here, sir. It looks like a pin of some kind. No, it's a tiny atomo light.
Let's see. Oh, it's a check projector.
Who does it belong to?
It's something the Venus City Space Patrol lab can tell us when they take it apart.
Then we'll know who put the sleep gas cylinder back here.
Our trip to testing grounds is off, Happy. We're going back to Venus City. I'll space it phone for a part. Mr. McDermott, here's an extract from that data we got from the government computer memory tape.
Well, let's see it. Good, Gilson. It's printed up in government regulation form, just as I ordered.
You want me to take it to Fergus?
No, he's coming here to the office in a few minutes. I'll give it to him then.
Oh, very good. Mr. McDermott, will it be absolutely necessary to go ahead with the rest of our plan?
You mean doing away with Fergus?
Yes.
And of course, Gilson. We know that Corey and the cadet left Venus City for the testing grounds on schedule. That means that by now the sleeping gas has worked, and they've lost control of the surface car.
Isn't the check projector enough evidence against Fergus?
It might be. But if Fergus is later found with information that he could have stolen from Corey, it will provide a motive. However, if Fergus is given a brainograph test, he could prove his innocence. So, the only alternative is to give Fergus top-secret data, and then do away with it.
How do we do that?
When Fergus sees this information, he'll blast off for Saturn to take advantage of it. When he's out in space, his air supply will fail. We'll see to that.
And the Space Patrol will have an open and shut case.
Exactly. If they find his ship, they'll find the secret data on him. Their only possible conclusion is that Fergus stole it from Corey. Well, that's probably Fergus now. Let him in.
Yes, sir.
The Venus lab came up with something very interesting, Happy.
On the check projector?
Yes, they cut it apart and projected the signature cell under ultraviolet light.
Whose is it?
Belongs to Brandon Fergus.
Brandon Fergus?
Yes, I had some trouble with him several months ago on Jupiter. He was involved in an illegal transaction. I stepped in and broke it up.
Well, then it must have been Fergus that planted the sleep gas cylinder in the surface car.
Ah, it looks that way. I can't figure out a motive. As far as I know, Fergus has been sticking close to the law lately. Either he holds a grudge a long time, or he's planning something new and wanted me out of the way.
Well, he sure came close to succeeding.
We'll make sure he doesn't come any closer. I've assigned some men to trace Fergus. When they locate him, they'll let me know. Then you and I will find out.
Are you sure about this, Gilson?
Positive. Commander Corey was seen coming out of the Venus City Space Patrol headquarters.
Could we have missed? We did take the surface car that you put the sleeping gas cylinder in.
Yes, but the car didn't go over the cliff. It was brought back to Venus City. Damaged, but not badly smashed up.
This puts us in a spot. Well, we've got to get rid of Fergus before Corey questions him.
Well, what about Corey?
We'll have to get rid of him later. The important thing now is to get rid of Fergus. Let's get to his spaceship.
I've just checked with Spaceport Operations Commander. Fergus' ship is on blast-off ramp 27.
Good, Hap. According to one of our agents, Fergus has left his apartment, so he should be here at the spaceport soon.
I wonder where he's going.
I don't know, Happy. He must have decided to leave Venus City within the last few hours. He'd made an appointment with the doctor for day after tomorrow and then canceled it.
Well, then something must have
Happy.
come up.
There he is, making his way through the crowd.
Where is he?
He's heading toward Gate 6. Let's follow him. We'll keep well behind him. He may be planning to...
That ought to do it, Mr. McDermott. The air supply should fail about 2 hours after blastoff.
Fine, Gilson. By then, Fergus ought to be so far from Venus that no help could reach him.
Well, let's get out of the ship and get back to the office, sir. I'd hate to be caught here.
All right. And now we've got to figure out a way... Oh, wait.
What is it?
Look, the starboard viewport. Somebody's coming toward the ship.
It's Fergus. What do we do?
Now, don't get excited, Gilson. I'll tell him I learned some new information.
Yeah, but what are you going to tell him?
It won't matter. He'll never have a chance to check the truth. Gilson,
what's the matter?
Who's following Fergus?
The Space Patrol.
Yes, Corey and his cadet.
We've got to get out of here.
Wait. This is a chance to simplify our whole problem. Come on, Gilson. Get into one of the aft compartments.
He's going up a ladder into his ship, sir. Hadn't we better hurry?
All right, Hap. But he can't blast off until he checks with Venus Space Patrol.
It doesn't look as though we were going to meet anybody here.
No. Evidently, Fergus has been working alone. All right, Hap, up the ladder into the ship.
Yes, sir.
Just a minute, Fergus. Don't close that hatch.
What's that?
We're coming in. We want to talk to you.
Why, Commander Corey, I haven't seen you for almost a year.
Yes, but I've got something here that belongs to you.
Oh, it's my check projector.
I thought you might explain how it happened to be in a surface car. I was driving to the testing grounds outside of Venus City.
Surface car? Why, really, Commander, I don't know what you're talking about. I lost a check gadget recently, but I haven't the slightest idea how it got into your surface car.
Then I'll have to ask you to come along with me for a brainograph test.
Now, see here, Commander, I've important business to attend to.
Search him, Happy.
Yes, sir.
But this is outrageous. I assure you I've done nothing against the law since our last dispute. And you have no right to hold me here.
He doesn't have any weapons, sir. Just this identification folder and some documents.
I'll take them, Happy. Thanks.
Now, see here, Commander. I resent this. And believe
Hold
me...
it, Fergus. How did you get this?
Why?
This is government information, top secret. And it's an official document form. So you were going to Saturn, were you? Where did you get this information?
Perhaps I can explain, Commander. Get your hands up, Cadet. You too, Commander.
McDermott.
I warn all of you. Any movement, I'll use this ray gun on you. Gilson, watch him closely, especially Corey.
Yes, Mr. McDermott.
I don't get this, McDermott. What's the idea? I'll tell you, Commander. This greedy fool Fergus had nothing to do with the attempt on your life in the Venus Mountains. I planned it. You did? Why? Because my electronic computer informed me that you were the most dangerous obstacle to my success. You can't be serious. Furthermore, it informed me that the government computer on Terra should be put out of commission.
Then you sabotaged the Terra calculator.
That's right. My calculator also determined that if you remained alive, the Space Patrol would probably discover that I destroyed the Terra machine.
So you put the sleeping gas in my surface car.
Yes, but that plan failed. So I'll have to be sure that this time I succeed. I'm going to do away with Fergus, and also you and your cadet right here in Fergus's spaceship.
McDermott, I can't understand this. Your father and I were friends. He was a great man, a brilliant man. The kindest man I've ever met.
That's rich, Corey. Do you realize that it was my father's decision that you should be eliminated?
That's impossible.
Do you remember those brainograph tapes? The idea you and he were working on to transfer those tapes to the memory banks of calculating machines?
Yes, but he passed away before we...
Not quite, Corey. He told me the process. I'm the first man in history to add the contents of a human brain to an electronic thinking machine. And it's ironic, isn't it, that my father, your friend, should decide that you should be destroyed.
That's very interesting, McDermott. But tell me, did you transfer all of your father's brainograph tapes to your electronic calculator?
Of course not, just the important parts. The facts, his reasoning processes.
That's all I wanted to know, McDermott.
Get Gilson happy. Yes, sir. Give me that gun, Gilson.
Good work, Captain. Keep them covered.
Yes, sir.
All right, McDermott, on your feet. Let's take him to headquarters, Happy.
Yes, sir.
McDermott, when you put your father's electronic calculator together, you forgot one thing.
What was that?
Your father's brain wasn't merely a collection of facts. That's all you preserved. You threw away the important qualities. Sympathy, kindness, and the love for humanity.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Of course you do. McDermott, you can build a substitute for the human brain, but you'll never build a substitute for the human heart.
In just a moment, an action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure.
Come in.
You wanted to see me, Commander?
Oh, yes. Come in, Captain Tupa. Captain, you understand, don't you, that today is the last time we can offer the gang on Earth a Space Patrol projectoscope?
Yes, sir, I do.
And be sure to mention that when you talk to them on the radio today. I don't want anybody to get left without one. Now, look at this projectoscope I have here. You ever see a better model of my rocket?
Never, sir.
Take a look at how easy it flashes signals.
Perfect.
Look at the steady beam of light it throws. A real flashlight in the shape of a rocket. And, of course, it's also a film projector. It flashes pictures on the wall. Pictures of Hap and me and 4 of our greatest Space Patrol adventures.
Say, what's that, Commander?
Oh, my radio beam relayer is on. The boys and girls have been listening to us all the time. Hi, gang. Glad you're listening in because now you already know that I want you to send in right away for a projectoscope. Remember, this is the last time we can make this offer.
That's right, gang. To get a projectoscope, do this. Buy a box of rice checks or wheat checks. Then, with your name and address, send 35 cents in coin and a rice checks or wheat checks box top to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. Don't forget your 35 cents. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy are in the basement of a museum near some prehistoric fossil pits on the Martian desert, searching for valuable gems.
These gems look real to me, Commander.
They are, Happy. I think we've found the man who smuggled them in.
Hey, Commander, what's that?
Stay where you are, both of you. Now, Commander, you may have found me, but this machine will keep you from capturing me.
Well, what kind of a machine is it, Commander?
It's a disintegrator for removing rock from fossils.
That's right, and it will destroy anything, Cadet. Do you understand anything? That means no one will ever find a trace of either of you.
Join us again next week for the mystery of the Martian fossils, when wheat checks, rice checks, and good hot Ralston again present another exciting adventure on Space Patrol! Special bulletin for boys and girls in Cincinnati, Ohio, Bridgeport, New Haven, and Hartford, Connecticut, and Providence, Rhode Island. Buzz Corey's own space battle cruiser, the Ralston Rocket, will be in your area next week. Don't miss it. The Ralston Rocket. Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston. Produced and directed by Larry Robertson. Executive producer Mike Devery. Other players were Bela Kovach, Ken Mayer, and Norman Jolly. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when Wheat Checks, Rice Checks, and Good Hot Ralston again present the new, exciting Space Patrol! And be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol program on your local ABC television station. Consult your local paper for time and channel. This program is broadcast to our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol has come to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.